Hey everyone, welcome to FanFic Canon. Thanks for hitting play. I'm thrilled to bring this fan-made story to life for you. If you enjoy the ride and want more narrated fanfics, smash, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss an episode. And if you want audiobook of a novel of your choice, join my Patreon. Request any title that's freely available online, and I'll produce a full narration just for you. Now, let's dive into today's adventure.
When the Norse god Odin offered his assistance, Rias and the others only frowned slightly. To be fair, they did feel a trace of gratitude. After all, the chief god of Norse mythology had personally come to support them. That alone carried weight. But gratitude and acceptance were two different things. They were Luo Hao's family. Their duty was simple: win for him. If they had to rely on outside help, it would feel like admitting they weren't strong enough. And that was something none of them could accept. Rias was just about to politely decline, but Luo Hao spoke first. "You seem to misunderstand something, Odin." His tone was calm. "We never asked for your support, and are you underestimating my followers?" The words fell heavy. Odin paused. For a moment, even the Allfather didn't know how to respond. Silence lingered. Behind Luo Hao, his family members exchanged faint smiles. Those words meant everything. He believed in them. Odin had expected resistance. Still, hearing it directly left him momentarily speechless. Before he could recover, Luo Hao continued. "Stand there and watch. My family will crush this battle with absolute strength." The declaration wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Immediately, everyone behind him stepped forward again, battle intent rising sharply. Their confidence soared. They would not disappoint him. Boom. A violent surge of destructive magic gathered in Rias' right hand, crimson energy condensing into a sphere dense enough to warp the air around it. Beside her, Akino spread her wings. Demonic and fallen angel power intertwined as lightning began to crackle around her fingertips. Both had released their true strength. Saber raised the sword of promised victory. Even without fully releasing its seals, the holy sword radiated a terrifying pressure. If unleashed completely, its destructive output would be catastrophic. Elsewhere, Luo Hao's other followers charged forward, cutting through the advancing old demon soldiers with relentless precision. The battlefield shifted instantly. Odin felt it. The aura coming from Saber's blade made even him tense. That holy sword, its presence is overwhelming. When did Michael possess something like that? By instinct, he associated it with the angel faction. It was a reasonable assumption. Luo Hao snorted. "Don't compare Saber's blade to Michael's toys." His gaze rested on the sword in her hands. "The power she holds is enough to pierce a galaxy." Odin's eyes widened. Pierce a galaxy? If that wasn't exaggeration, then the destructive scale would be beyond divine warfare. He looked again at Saber, at the calm knight holding that radiant blade. Curiosity replaced doubt. Perhaps he had indeed underestimated this group. At the same time, inside the occult research club at Kuoh Academy, a faint blue glow flickered beside Azazel's ear. It was a long-distance communication spell. On the other end was Sazek, speaking directly from the Underworld. Azazel held his ear casually and said, "Odin has already headed over." The battle should have started by now. He paused, then added with a small grin, though knowing Luo Hao, he probably refused Odin's help. Not that he needs it. Odin going there is just extra insurance. There was no doubt in his tone. Azazel had complete confidence in Luo Hao's strength. In the Underworld, Sazek listened quietly through the magic link before nodding. "Yes, with Luo Hao Sang involved, this operation will succeed. We'll wipe them out cleanly this time." His expression darkened slightly. "I just never expected that among the bloodline of a demon king, someone like that would exist." Even he hadn't imagined that within the relatives of Ajuka Beelzebub, a traitor capable of stirring such chaos would appear. Fortunately, the conspiracy had been uncovered in time. And with Luo Hao's assistance, what could have become a disaster was now a controlled battle. Back in the special dimension of the raiding game Battlefield, Luo Hao stood with arms folded, watching calmly. His eyes rested on Saber, who was preparing to release the true power of her holy sword. Odin, though denied participation, remained nearby. One hand stroked his beard while his single eye fixed intensely on Saber. He wanted to see it. The blade said to pierce galaxies. Rias and Akino moved in perfect coordination beside Saber. The moment they sensed the old Demon King's soldiers trying to interrupt her, they went all out. Crimson destruction magic exploded from Rias' hands, tearing through enemy ranks. Lightning laced with demonic power roared from Akino, striking down wave after wave of approaching soldiers. They cleared the path. They bought her time. Saber stood at the center, golden light gathering around Excalibur as she unlocked its restraints layer by layer. Akino smiled confidently. Once Saber releases it, this army won't matter. Victory for Luo Hao-sama will be guaranteed. Ria's narrowed her eyes slightly. Don't get careless. Battles can shift unexpectedly. Then her voice softened. But yes, I trust Saber. Both of them shared the same belief. As long as the holy sword was unleashed properly, this fight was over. The old Demon King's soldiers felt it too, the pressure, the holy aura swelling from Saber's blade. Panic spread through their ranks. They rushed her desperately, launching reckless assaults, but they couldn't get through. Riaz and Aquino stood like an unbreakable wall. The soldiers were cut down before they could even approach. Elsewhere, through a special projection spell, Theodora Astaroth watched the battlefield unfold in real time. His face darkened. I can't lose, not to that human, not to Luo Hao. His teeth ground together. I am of Demon King blood, I won't be defeated by someone like him. But the reality before his eyes was merciless. Luo Hao himself was already overwhelming, and his family just as monstrous. That was the part that unsettled him most. Even without Luo Hao stepping forward personally, the battlefield was tilting decisively. Back in his castle within the raiding game system, Theodora clenched his fists as his forces were crushed one after another. He had thought his own power was already extraordinary. Now he realized the true problem. It wasn't just Luo Hao, it was the entire group around him. Under Luo Hao's trust, his family members were fighting harder than ever, and the old Demon King's soldiers were being completely overwhelmed. Obviously, after seeing the terrifying power of Luo Hao and his entourage, Theodora Astaroth at this time was already a little out of breath. After all, he prepared the Demon King's soldiers so well. Facing that Luo Hao and his powerful relatives, they had no resistance at all and were completely crushed. He had prepared so many traps and preparations, but when he faced Luo Hao, it turned out to be of no use at all. How could he not make Theodora Astaroth feel incomparably angry? I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time, he continued, gritted his teeth and said viciously, "Damn it, lowly human, if not for him, that nun had already fallen into my hands a long time ago. And now, I have to go to great lengths to get that nun back from that one guy. Simply damn it to the extreme." It was obvious that Theodora Astaroth had already started to get a little irritable. Originally, it had always been Mimi's eyes, but it also opened its blood-red eyes at this time, revealing an extremely ferocious expression. And back to the battlefield of Luo Hao and his relatives. At this moment, beside Saber, countless magic particles shone with dazzling golden light have emerged. Just watching from a distance this time, you can already feel the incomparably vast magic power. Can't imagine this is just the magic power that one person can have. Looking at the incomparably huge magic power condensed by Saber, the demons at this time became more and more anxious if they still couldn't stop Saber's magic power at this time. In the next moment, they must not be able to stop Saber's holy sword from being released. Looking at such a scene, at this time Odin also shook his beard and continued to show a very shocked expression. He said in surprise, "Oh, so it is, no wonder Luo Hao sang, you said that this is the power that can penetrate the galaxy, and now it seems that it is true. That kind of magic is too terrifying. Even my magic spear can't achieve this level. This little girl can actually possess such a holy sword. It is a very rare thing, and this holy sword has never appeared in the Bible or history. Luo Hao, how did you find such a relative?" In Odin's heart, Luo Hao's mysterious veil adds a bit more. These things will always appear on this man, which makes people extremely shocked and even shocks the three views. And listening to Odin's words, Luo Hao at this time still folded his hands on his chest. He didn't want to answer Odin's words. After all, he has no way to explain such a thing. Saber is the reward he got from the system check-in. As for the holy sword, in fact, this holy sword is a product of another world, so it is quite difficult for the gods of this world to understand. So at this time the name, he is perfunctory, Odin said. HMPH, for you gods, there is no way to understand this kind of thing. Luo Hao's words were very brief. Luo Hao did not choose to answer Odin's question directly. And Odin, he listened to Luo Hao's words, listened to his cold tone, he also nodded silently without questioning. Since the other party doesn't want to tell him, he doesn't have the right to ask questions. After all, standing in front of him, this man, his name is Luo Hao, is the devil of time and space. On the other side, Saber at this time, the magic power of the holy sword in her hand has also been condensed, and it is about to reach the critical point. Riaz, Haimjima Aquino, thank you for your help. Without you, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to release the seal of the holy sword so smoothly. Now let's bring people to victory for the morrow. With the help of Riaz and Haimjima Aquino, no demon could successfully approach Saber's side. Excalibur. As soon as Riaz's voice fell, Saber at this time had already raised the holy sword in her hand. A loud bang, Listening to the words of Saber next to him, Lee 343 Yas and Hajime Aquino at this time also showed a shallow smile and nodded. It can be said that this ranking game has already announced the victory of Luo Hao and his family. A torrent of golden energy with terrifying destructive power immediately rushed towards the sky. That terrifying destructive power directly caused the densely packed demons in the sky to be completely evaporated at the moment of contact. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Disappearing in this world, such a terrifying destructive power is simply incomprehensible to ordinary people. Seeing Riaz at this time, she also said. Before he was about to release the holy sword, Saber at this time also said to the number 1 and number 2 beside him. As if it really has the terrifying power to penetrate the galaxy. Drink, then the rest is up to you. Saber must usher in victory for Lord Luo Hao. Along with Saber's roar, she was already violently swinging out the holy sword in her hand. At this time, a golden energy flow with terrifying destructive power runs through the sky. Let the countless demon kings, demons, and soldiers in the sky be wiped out. Those demon soldiers didn't even have time to let out their painful cries, and they immediately disappeared from this world. It was as clean as if there were no traces of what once existed. The terrifying golden energy flows. Even at this time, it directly attacked the sky in this different dimension, making a violent sound, and the shock wave even caused the earth to shake violently at this time. Just from these phenomena, it is already possible to judge Saber, how terrifyingly destructive the release of her holy sword is. Under the terrifying destructive power of this golden torrent of energy, this space could not even continue to maintain a stable state, and even cracks appeared. And these terrifying phenomena are just the aftermath of Saber's release of her holy sword. Looking at such a powerful holy sword at this time, Odin also continued to hold his beard and said with a very shocked expression, "Is this the real holy sword?" It shouldn't be said that only this kind of power can be said to be the real holy sword. I didn't think that Luo Hao's power alone would be incomparably terrifying, and your relatives also possess incomparably terrifying strength. It's an astonishing fact. Just your power alone is enough to make a huge change in the pattern of this world. But you're just passionate about fighting. What an interesting person. But listening to Odin's words, Luo Hao at this time did not take it seriously. For him, he was the devil of time and space. If you want to conquer the world of this high school of demons, it is nothing more than a very random thing. As long as Luo Hao has this idea, he can conquer the whole world of demon high school in an instant. It's just that for him, such a thing is worthless. What he wants to do is to use the ranking game created by the demons to conquer the world in this way. After all, for a man, attacking a city is much more interesting than fighting alone. Just like the battle this time, it was only by virtue of the strength of his family members. He was already able to defeat all the old Demon King soldiers in such a large number, under the terrifying destructive power of the Holy Sword. The entire alien space seemed to be shaking, and fragments and red lightning even appeared in the sky. Obviously, these are the aftershocks of Saber's holy sword when it is released. Wu tilde. After completing the instant release, Saber heaved a long sigh of relief and retracted the holy sword in his hand into the scabbard. And in the sky, there are already no traces of the demon soldiers of those old demon kings. Just one hit. But in the face of the terrifying strength of Luo Hao and others, this space turned out to be completely vulnerable, with cracks appearing, which is a surprising fact. I saw Azazel at this time, and he also showed a surprised and troublesome expression. Puff puff, it is indeed Luo Hao and his family members. Luo Hao at this time, he also spoke very calmly. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. Well, that's almost it. If all the demon soldiers who are the main footsteps have been cleaned up, let's start our next move. And looking at Saber and the others who have already wiped out all those demons. Today's third update, please support a wave of subscriptions, thank you readers. The other side is in the outer space. As soon as Luo Hao's voice fell, he turned his attention to the castle in the distance. There was the base camp of their opponent in the ranking game, Theodora Astaroth. Regarding the strength of Luo Hao, Saber, and others, Asashel at this time, he couldn't help it, and once again made a shocked voice. Those energies were overflowing to such an extent that this space could no longer maintain a stable state. It seemed that the battle was coming to an end. As long as it is captured, the ranking game this time will announce the victory of Luo Hao and others. Even this specially created space for fighting can't withstand the energy they generate when they fight, OK Zhao. This is a special space for battle, created by consuming the magic power of countless demons in the underworld. Just relying on the release of the holy sword that can penetrate the galaxy with a single blow, the huge demon that was dense enough to cover the entire sky, the soldiers have been wiped out in an instant. And back to the vision of Luo Hao and others. Listening to Lord Luo Hao's words, Riaz and Himejima Aquino also nodded sharply at this time. Then at this time Riaz, she spoke. These old Demon King's demon soldiers have all been wiped out, and we can officially start the battle with Theodora Astaroth. I won't let go of the guy who stained the ranking game. As Ria's voice just fell, she clenched her fists slightly at this time. It was obvious that she felt extremely angry about Theodora Astaroth's behavior at this time. After all, that guy, he tainted the ranking game, which is extremely sacred to demons. And listening to Ria's words, the other Luo Hao's family members at this time also nodded fiercely at this time. And Himejima Aquino, she also echoed number 1 at this time. Yes, that's right, in this battle, we are not just to help Lord Luo Hao win 347, we also want to avenge Asia. We can't just allow that guy to be so arrogant. And listen to the words of the people. At this time, Asia, she also immediately showed a very grateful expression. Obviously, caring so much for people. At this moment, Asia, she also felt extremely grateful and moved. As for Odin's words, he also continued to shake his beard at this time. It seems that you are full of resentment towards that guy, haha. I saw Odin at this time and he laughed at this time, although he didn't know what happened to Asia. But for him, it would not be a loss if he could witness Luo Hao's battle. It's just that I came here specially to help Luo Hao in this different space. But the other party did not allow him to take action, which is a pity. As for Luo Hao, he also glanced at Odin next to him at this time. By the way, do you guys want to stay here? There is no chance for you to take action here. My family and I will end this battle in an instant. That guy wasn't enough to pose any danger. Luo Hao's words were full of confidence, but as he said, the power of Theodora Astaroth couldn't pose any threat to him at all. For Luo Hao, the ranking game is literally the same, just a favorite game. And listening to Lord Luo Hao's words at this time, Riaz, he also showed a slightly awkward smile. The corners of her mouth twitched a little involuntarily. Sure enough, Lord Luo Hao is Luo Hao others, and his speech is always so unique. Even Odin, the main god of Northern Europe, did not get any good looks in front of him. As for Lord Luo Hao's words, Riaz didn't know how to evaluate it. But since it is Lord Luo Hao, this kind of speech is more like him. After all, he is the devil of time and space. And listening to Luo Hao's words at this time, Odin, he also let out a heroic laugh and said, "Don't say that, I'm here to help you fight even if you don't need me. But it's rare for me to come here, so let me continue to watch this battle, isn't it?" I saw that at this time, he said fiercely and confidently. On the other side, in the base camp of Theodora Astaroth, in that ancient castle. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. Humph, come here quickly, Luo Hao. I don't know why Lord Luo Hao is always able to get along so well with these big men. Today's 4th update, one more update to complete today's task. Sitting on the throne, he also showed a very ferocious expression at this time. It is impossible to imagine that this is the speech of the main god of Norse mythology. This time I will completely defeat you. As a main god, Odin's character is indeed a bit special. He was waiting for Luo Hao and his family members to arrive. All the traps that he laid actually did not play any role on that Luo Hao and his family. Originally, Lord Luo Hao's speech surprised them, and now Odin's speech also surprised them. In this case, Riaz at this time, she also said with a speechless expression, "Then take that nun back into my hands." With the pleasant voice just falling, Luo Hao's family members at this time, they also showed an embarrassing expression again at the same time. As a last resort at this time, he has to fight in person. However, with the help of the Bang of Calamity, his magic power also increased rapidly in a short period of time. At this time, Odin, he also said like some old urchins, "Wow, hey, eat, rumble." I saw at this time, under the powerful fist of the Tasheng kitten. Immediately, the gate of the castle was slammed open by his heavy punch. In the midst of a loud bang, he reached the incomparably thick and huge castle. The gate turned out to be very simple and was forcibly opened by the Tasheng kitten. And Luo Hao and others, they also started to take steps at this time and entered the castle. In this dark space on the false throne, there is only a sinister and cunning Theodora Astaroth. He was sitting on top of the throne. It was just when Luo Hao's people entered the castle. In front of them is a row neat. A mysterious man in a black robe and a hood is here, and the man they wanted to defeat was standing in the center. I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time, he said slowly. This ranking game is far from over. You see on the right here are 8 soldiers and 2 castles. On the left is a queen and 2 bishops. You can freely distribute here. Do your best to defeat me, hahaha tilde tilde. I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time. He was very confident and laughed loudly. And listening to the other party's words at this time, Riaz also said with gritted teeth slightly. A 7 to 10 situation. It seems that we are at a disadvantage again in terms of numbers. For some reason Luo Hao didn't bring Waz and Roseweather in this ranking game, so their lineup is only 7 people. On the other hand, there were 10 neat people, all equipped with demon chess pieces that possessed a certain fighting ability. It can be said that Luo Hao used the absolute disadvantage first in terms of number of people. However, this disadvantage is not surprising to them. In listening to the other party's words, Odin, the main god of Norse at this time, also showed a shallow smile and said to Luo Hao beside him, "Haha. Luo Hao, little brother, your side has fallen into an absolute disadvantage in numbers. How about it? Do you want to continue the fight?" Obviously, Odin's words were just joking. After all, he also has a certain degree of understanding of the power of Luo Hao and his followers. With just this level of opponents and numbers, there is no way to cause any danger to Luo Hao and his family. It's just that he still made such a declaration. Obviously, for him, it was just a joke. Listening to Odin's words, Luo Hao at this time also didn't take it seriously. I saw at this time he said very calmly, "Want to beat me in numbers? If it's just like this, you've let me down too much. I thought you could bring me some more fun. Didn't I expect this level?" Obviously, he was very disappointed with Theodora Astaroth's opponent, Luo Hao at this time. I originally thought that he could bring me a little fun, but now it seems that I have overestimated this guy. And listening to Luo Hao's words, Theodora Astaroth at this time, he also immediately showed a gnashing expression. The arrogant attitude towards Luo Hao. He has always been very hateful. I saw that at this time he said with a very ferocious expression, "Humph, I hope your arrogant attitude can continue until the end of this battle. Give me all of you. Ask for flowers." Soon, at this time, Theodora Astaroth had already issued an order to these dependents in front of him. And the relatives of Theodora Astaroth who received the order, they also immediately took a fighting stance at this time, always ready to laugh at Luo Hao and his entourage for attacking. And look at these enemies who have entered a state of battle. At this time of Luo Hao, he still showed a rather calm state, although it is said that the other party's state has a complete upper hand. However, in terms of the quality of the dependents, the other party is far inferior to himself. No, it should be said that it is not as good. It should be said that it is not an opponent at all. It's just like a swarm of ants. Even Luo Hao at this time didn't even bother to give specific instructions. I saw that at this time he raised his right hand and said very casually, "Let's go together too. Let's fight quickly, don't waste too much time on these opponents." After getting the order of Lord Luo Hao, Riaz and the others also immediately assumed a fighting stance. They had confident smiles on their faces. Just an opponent of this level, for them, it is as simple as eating and drinking, and there is nothing to be afraid of. It's just that Theodora Astaroth at this time, he did not think about defeating the opponent through the way of his family. He just wanted to consume a wave of opponents through his family, and then let himself defeat Luo Hao. It has great confidence in its own magic. Hey, it seems that guy doesn't know that he has fallen into my trap. And with Luo Hao's order at this time, his family members also immediately made a gesture of preparation for battle. It's just that the Norse god Odin, who was standing beside Luo Hao before the battle started, he also said jokingly, Oh, Luo Hao, aren't you ready to take action yourself? However, an opponent of this level is not qualified to let you shoot yourself, right?" At this moment, Odin didn't seem to want to speak to Luo Hao, but deliberately hinted how that Theodora Astaroth heard it clearly. His words belonged to the ranks of yin and yang. 347. And listening to Odin's words, at this time, Theodora Astaroth also immediately showed a gnashing expression. It's just that compared to being looked down upon by a small human like Luo Hao, he is looked down upon by Odin, the main god of northern mythology. To have Theodora Astaroth arrive a little bit better. But even so, it is impossible to say that he has no anger in his heart about the fact that he was underestimated. But he thinks that in the next battle, he will soon be able to avenge himself. On the other side, listening to Odin's words, Luo Hao also spoke with a very disdainful expression at this time. Humph, it's just an opponent of that level if I shoot now. For me, it's just an insult. Obviously, in the heart of Luo Hao at this moment that Theodora Astaroth, his strength is still in a state of being underestimated. But in fact, for Luo Hao, his power is really just as small. And at this moment Luo Hao, its dialogue with Odin seems to be united. He was laughing at the weakness of Theodora Astaroth, and listening to the conversation between Lord Luo Hao and Lord Odin behind them, Riaz and others at this time couldn't help but poo kai. Even at this time, Hajime Aquino, she couldn't help but say with a smile. As expected of Lord Luo Hao and Lord Odin, before they even started fighting, they have already caused the other party to suffer so much damage. And listening to Hajime Aquino's words, Riaz at this time, she also said it right after. Indeed. But this kind of dialogue is more in the style of Lord Luo Hao. That kind of opponent really has no way to touch Lord Luo Hao's heel. Not only Luo Hao and Odin, but even Luo Hao's relatives, they are also making a mockery of that Theodora Astaroth's weakness. And listening to the mocking words of these people in front of him, at this time, Theodora Astaroth couldn't help but open himself. The pair of Mimi's eyes also revealed those bloody, hideous eyes. At this moment in his heart, he was about to burst out with incomparable anger immediately. I saw the person who immediately got it shouted viciously. "You guys are still there, what are you doing? Hurry up and beat all those guys for me. I do not allow your failure. Get it to me quickly." As Theodora Astaroth's voice just fell, those servants who were wearing black robes and hoods at this time, they also peeped face to face at this time. Immediately afterwards, they also gathered their magic power, clenching their fists and running towards Luo Hao's family members at a high speed. The battle officially begins, and looked at the family of the enemy who was rushing towards him. At this time, Riaz, she also spoke seriously to the other family members of Lord Luo Hao around her. "Everyone, the enemy is coming, get ready now." Well, as soon as Riaz's voice fell, the other family members at this time immediately. They are already lined up for battle, ready to welcome the arrival of the enemy. Boom, bang, immediately in the center of this castle, an extremely fierce battle broke out at this time. Riaz and Hajime Aquino were two long-range artillery turrets, and the two of them also kept condensing the magic in their hands at this time and attacked each other. That mighty magic. Just a little touch will cause very serious damage, and the opponent will not dare to confront Riaz and 2-6 Hajime Aquino directly. As for the other relatives, in terms of warfare, their strengths are not less diverse. Obviously, this is a ranking game belonging to the family. Luo Hao, he still has an absolute advantage, even if he didn't play in person. Saber didn't use the holy sword in his hand. He also has the absolute upper hand. However, this is only the first round of this ranking game. Next, the battle that belongs to Luo Hao is the real key. Soon, this ranking game belongs to the relatives. Luo Hao's family members already have the absolute upper hand. Under the powerful magic of Riaz and Hajime Aquino, there are Taho Kitten, Kiba Yudo, and Saber. Under the powerful melee abilities of the three of them, the relatives of the other party have no power to parry at all and are completely suppressed and crushed. The original Saber was considering whether to release the power of the Holy Sword to reverse the situation given the absolute disadvantage in terms of numbers. However, according to the current situation, I am afraid that there is no need for that at all. I saw Hajime Aquino at this time, she also mocked the other party. Humph, it seems that the other party is nothing special, only to this extent. We don't need to wait for Lord Luo Hao to take action, we can already end the battle. Obviously, at this moment, Hajime Aquino, she is full of confidence in this battle. However, the weakness of the other party contributed to the reason why she spoke like this. If the other party hadn't been intentionally weak, he wouldn't have made such a speech. As long as the opponent is a little stronger, this battle will not reproduce such a posture. I was still listening to the words of Aquino Hajime next to me. At this time, Riaz, she also reminded the other party. The battle isn't over yet, we can't just relax so quickly. Although said at this time, then he reminded his comrades to take this battle seriously. However, although the words say so. However, the opponents are indeed very weak, and I am afraid that they do not need much effort at all, and they can already win this battle. Looking at his family members, he first got an absolute disadvantage. At this time, Theodora Astaroth immediately continued to show a hideous expression. Originally, he thought that his family members would be able to consume to a certain extent, then become the man who reaps the battle with yourself. But now it seems that these rubbish family members of my own can't even consume the other party. Really, it's so disappointing. I saw that at this time, he gritted his teeth and said through gritted teeth, "Damn it, these rubbish are not even a little bit busy, help. I would have known that a new batch of family members would participate in this ranking game. These guys didn't play any role at all. For his own family, Theodora Astaroth at this time, he did not have any feelings at all. For him, these relatives are nothing but consumables that can be discarded at will." While watching this battle, listening to Theodora Astaroth's frantic words as well as that hideous expression, At this time, the Norse god Odin, he also smiled and said to Luo Hao beside him, "Haha, little friend Luo Hao, it seems that your opponent is a little angry." Well, but this is also normal. In the face of such an absolute disadvantage, it is normal to feel angry. I don't know Odin at this moment, he is mocking Theodora Astaroth from the side, still really talking to Luo Hao, no one knows what he really thinks. Today's second update complete. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running, and if the power of Theodora Astaroth hadn't been enhanced, how could he have challenged Luo Hao so boldly? Using his own communication magic that shone with a faint blue light, he talked with Sazex in the faraway Underworld. You think our Luo Hao at this moment, he has a certain degree of understanding of the Theodora Astaroth in front of him. Then he said it in his low, hoarse voice. The majesty of the Demon King cannot be offended. On the other side in the outer space, it was 347 a satchel at this time, and he was also at this time. Hey, Sazex. I said that Theodora Astaroth, he seems to be using a special thing from the Troubled Brigade, so his power has been greatly improved. There is no way to defeat Luo Hao just by relying on Luo Hao's family. And Sazex in the Underworld in the distant steel, he also nodded when he heard the words in Azazel's communication. But Luo Hao sang he should also be clear about this matter. I'm curious though, after using the snake, how much will his power increase? But listening to Odin's words, he was also Luo Hao at this time, but he still showed a very disdainful expression. Indeed, that guy's magic power has been incredibly boosted in a short period of time. Also, I don't think someone like Luo Hao sang won't take a shot in this fight. After all, Luo Hao is also a transmigrator. As for the plot of the original work of Demon High School, he also has a certain degree of understanding of stealth. Humph. Isn't it normal for an opponent of that level to be crushed by us? And back to Luo Hao's perspective. Although at this time his family crushed this ranking game with their powerful attitude. It's just that if you want to decide the winner in a short period of time, I'm afraid it's still a bit reluctant. Although the strength of the opponent is weak, it is not strong. But even so, it is still difficult to decide the winner in a short period of time. Unless Saber at this time, she is the real name of the holy sword that liberates her hands. Using the terrifying power released by the noble phantasm, it may be possible to decide the outcome of this ranking game in an instant. But if that's the case, it might seem a bit too wasteful. After all, if only an opponent of this level is to let Saber release the holy sword in his hand, it would be a bit of a test. At the same time, at this time, Odin also held his beard in one hand and sighed. Luo Hao, little brother, your relatives are amazing. Obviously, the opponent's strength is not weak, but you can also have such an upper hand. But if you do it yourself, maybe this battle can end more quickly. In his words, Odin hinted at letting Luo Hao take a shot. After all, it would be more interesting to watch the battle of Luo Hao's signature than to watch the battle of Luo Hao's family. After all, the Demon King of Time and Space can't always see his power. Even the existence of the Nordic master Odin. He was still curious about Luo Hao's power. While staring at Odin's words beside him, Luo Hao frowned slightly at this time. After such a long time, there is no way to end this ranking game, which may have made Luo Hao feel a little impatient at this moment. After all, the opponent is so weak, but it also wastes so much time. For him, there is an inexplicable feeling of insult. It's just different from Luo Hao's mentality. At this time, Theodora Astaroth felt extremely angry. The family members, who were originally full of self-confidence, actually had no resistance when facing the opponent's terrifying strength. The battle situation has presented a one-sided attitude, and he is at an absolute disadvantage, and even consuming his opponent, I am afraid there is no way to do it. Damn it, these guys are only able to do so much. Am I really going to lose this battle to a mere human being? Obviously, at this moment, Theodora Astaroth has no way to accept the fact that happened in front of his eyes. As the blood relative of the former Demon King, he was going to lose to a mere human being. This kind of result made him unable to accept it at all. With his noble blood, there is no way for him to lose to a mere human being. But what he didn't know was the man named Luo Hao standing in front of him. He was not an ordinary human at all. He is a demon of time and space. Just like the ranking game on the other side, it is going on continuously. Although his family has an absolute advantage, there is no way to do it. In a short period of time to decide the winner, Luo Hao felt very bored. Forget it, if this battle continues, it's just a waste of time for me. Let the next round come as soon as possible. He just listened to the words of Odin, the main god of Northern Europe. Luo Hao Zhao at this time did not choose to respond to the other party. After all, he had no obligation to respond to this guy's words. The time of the enemy's dependence has all been stopped. Obviously, from the words of the Norse gods Odin at this moment, he can already hear it, and he is also quite curious about Luo Hao's power. Into a state of stillness. It really makes people look forward to what kind of posture you will become this time, and what kind of power will you use to deal with these opponents. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. At this time, the Norse Lord God Odin, he also immediately showed a surprised expression. For such a situation, Luo Hao's family members immediately showed a surprised expression. Riaz at this time, she said in surprise, "Luo Hao, little brother, have you finally decided to do it yourself?" Haha, clap a sound. Today's third update asked for full order support. We watched Luo Hao's move. This is Lord Luo Hao's ability to stop at times. In an instant, the whole castle is in the middle all. Seeing that Luo was good at this time, he gently snapped his fingers. As soon as Luo Hao's voice fell, he slowly raised his right hand. Looking at his family members, all of them arrived first and were still in a state of stillness. At this time, Theodora Astaroth also immediately showed a very surprised expression. Then he continued to grit his teeth and said viciously, "Damn it, forget this guy has such special abilities. If this is the case, my followers will be even more useless." Quite simply, at this time, Theodora Astaroth had forgotten that Luo Hao also had the ability to pause time, and it was a time with high authority. It's just that Luo Hao's ability to activate is not a good thing for his dependents. I saw that Riaz at this time frowned immediately, showing a very worried expression. After all, the battle between family members is her most important task for them. But if Luo Hao of 350 was at this time, if he also shot, it would have caused Riaz and others to feel that their abilities were insufficient. So at this time Riaz, she also felt a very worried feeling. And at this time, Himejima Aquino, she couldn't help but turn her head back, said to Lord Luo Hao behind him, "Lord Luo Hao, we haven't failed yet, we can continue to fight this battle." I saw Himejima Aquino at this time, she couldn't wait to prove her strength in front of Lord Luo Hao. As for the other relatives living in Luo Hao, they also showed a worried expression and looked at Luo Hao in front of them. Their mood is also the same as Riaz and Himejima Aquino. They are all eager to win for Luo Hao, rather than let Luo Hao take the shot himself. Hearing the words of Luo Hao's retinues, the Norse god Odin at this time, he just smiled and stroked his beard. "Ha ha ha, little brother Luo Hao, your relatives are not very happy, you should leave the fight to them. After all, fighting for you is everything to them." At this moment, Odin's behavior is unpredictable. For a while, he hoped to see Luo Hao's battle, but for a while he felt that Luo Hao's action was an act of distrust for his family members. It's just listening to Odin's joking words and looking at the sad expressions of his family members. Luo Hao at this time, he really said it very indifferently. "I am very clear about your strength. If this battle is to continue, you will win, it is true. It's just that it's too boring and a waste of time. I can't continue watching such a boring battle continue." As Luo Hao's voice just fell, he took a step forward slowly at this time. He walked slowly towards that Theodora Astaroth. And looking at Luo Hao Abdi, who was slowly approaching him, Theodora Astaroth at this time, he also showed a hideous and scared expression. Obviously in his consciousness, Luo Hao is just an insignificant human being. But when he felt his terrifying breath, at this time Theodora Astaroth, he felt an instinctive fear. He was afraid of the man named Luo Hao in front of him. As for his own reaction, Theodora Astaroth at this time was also very surprised, and he even asked himself at this time. At this time, they immediately turned to ashes and disappeared from the world. "HMPH, don't be so afraid, I'm looking forward to fighting with you." And looking at his disappeared relatives, Theodora Astaroth at this time, suddenly, "No, impossible, it's just a human, I would never be afraid of that." As Luo Hao's voice just fell, he snapped his fingers all his life at this time. No one can imagine how desperate they are in their hearts at this moment, and they don't even have the ability to resist. It's just that Luo Hao at this time also slowly raised his right hand, what Theodora Astaroth in front of the family said. It's just that facing the demon king of time and space in front of him, how much can he do? He also immediately clenched his fists, and the magic burst out immediately. As a last resort, he could only play in person and start a battle with Luo Hao. For the fact that he was afraid of the human being in front of him, at this time, Theodora Astaroth had no way of accepting it. Am I scared? In front of the demon king power of time and space, they didn't even have the power to resist, they could only disappear into this world in despair. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. At this moment, none of the means he arranged had any effect on Luo Hao. those who were originally stopped by time and belonged to Theodora Astaroth's family. I saw Luo Hao at this time, he said indifferently towards Theodora Astaroth in front of him. HMPH, come on. Come and start the fight, let me see how much you can increase your strength with the help of those things. Hope you can give me an interesting fight. Although Luo Hao doesn't think the guy in front of him has much power. It's just enough to provide some sideshows, and by the way, it's just right to avenge his family, Asia. While talking, a white spacetime driver appeared on Luo Hao's waist, and in his right hand, he is already holding a second-order dial of the King of Time. Immediately at this time Luo Hao, he was already ready to transform. And at this moment, Luo Hao's family members, they are also standing with Odin, the main god of Northern Europe at this time, ready to watch this battle of Luo Hao. Looking at Luo Hao, who was about to transform, and Odin at this time, he also said with a smile, interesting, I can finally see the transformation of Luo Hao's little brother again. I am really curious about his power to control time. I didn't expect that in this world there are still people who can achieve such a level that even the transcendents can't defy it. Obviously, for Luo Hao's terrifying ability to stop and stop, at this time the Nordic god Odin, even he felt incredible. And listening to the serious words of the Nordic lord god Odin at this time she is also very confident and proudly responded. Humph, isn't that of course, our lord Luo Hao, his power far surpasses everyone in this world. When he heard someone compliment Luo Hao's ideological strength, he was also very proud of being number 3 at this time. As for the remaining few family members, they also showed a happy smile at this time. At this time they will also feel quite proud of the appreciation of Odin, the main god of Northern Europe. It's just that the more important thing now is Lord Luo Hao, who is about to fight that Theodora Astaroth. Seeing Himejima Aquino at this time, she also showed a shallow smile and said, that guy, he should have used some special means to strengthen his strength. Otherwise, he should not dare to challenge Lord Luo Hao. After thinking about it for a while, Himejima Aquino was already very clear about the specific situation of Theodora Astaroth. Even at this time, she was very aware of Theodora Astaroth at this moment. What kind of special means did he use to increase his power? It's just that at that level, there is absolutely no way to compete with Lord Luo Hao. I saw Luo Hao's retinues at this time. They were with Odin, the main god of Northern Europe. He put his eyes on Luo Hao tightly. They were all looking forward to how Luo Hao completely defeated his opponent in this battle. The family members of Luo Hao, they also have a very firm idea in their hearts, that is Theodora Astaroth in front of them. He is absolutely incapable of competing with Lord Luo Hao. Ask for flowers and back to the battlefield between Theodora Astaroth and Luo Hao. Looking at the Luo Hao in front of him, looking at his arrogant expression and the gesture of winning. Asia is mine. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Even a mere person dares to be so arrogant. Watch me use my powerful strength to completely crush you into pieces. Just watch and feel from a distance. It was already possible to perceive his incomparably terrifying magic power. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. It's just that at this moment, the magic power it burst out surprised everyone present. The emotion of anger gave his magic power a boost once again. HMPH, interesting, it seems that the power you possess has not disappointed me too much. Feeling the terrifying magic power that erupted from Theodora Astaroth, Luo Hao at this time just showed a shallow smile and said, I didn't expect this guy, he was in such a short time. The power is such a huge boost. A loud bang. The powerful red and black magic power at this time wrapped around him. Immediately at this time Theodora Astaroth, his hideous expression appeared on his face again. Today's first update, ask for a wave of follow-up support. Accompanied by Theodora Astaroth's voice just fell. It's just that for Lord Luo Hao, this level of power is far from enough. In the Underworld, Theodora Astaroth was not a strong man, with Luo Hao approaching step by step. At this moment Theodora Astaroth, the fear and anger in his heart swelled more and more. And the more obvious this emotion is, the more powerful his power is. At this moment, he is not simply relying on special means to improve his own strength. Theodora Astaroth, he also relies on emotions to improve himself. It's just that after all, it's just a bug. No matter how powerful it is, it can't defeat a powerful lion. No matter how hard the weak person tries, he cannot surpass his limit. And Theodora Astaroth, he is the worm, and Luo Hao 350 is the lion. This battle was doomed to Luo Hao's victory from the very beginning. It's just a game for Luo Hao. It's really interesting. At the same time, at this time, Theodora Astaroth kept waving his hands and shouting frantically. Damn it, don't come near me, you be ************* is a mere human trying to defeat me in vain. I'm not that weak. My body is flowing with the blood of the Demon King. I am the strongest, and you are just a person. A lowly human. Obviously, the blood of the Demon King gave Theodora Astaroth incomparable dignity. At this moment, Theodora Astaroth, he has no way to accept a mere human being. His power can be far superior to himself. It's just that whether he accepts it or not, the fact is in front of him, Luo Hao's power. Way beyond this guy. Well, on the other side, Odin at this time. He also continued to hold his beard and said with a light smile, "Haha, that guy, he's a little p*** d off. It's just that his anger like this happened to increase his power." But what I'm more curious about is, at this time, little brother Luo Hao, what kind of power and mentality will he use to fight? Obviously, although Odin at this time, he is admiring the same strength that is expanding rapidly. But even so, compared with an absolute powerhouse like Luo Hao, the gap is still not a single star. For Odin, the outcome of this battle has been doomed from the very beginning. But all he wanted to see was Luo Hao unleashing his power. I'm going to listen to the topic of appreciation of the Norse god Odin at this time. Luo Hao's family members did not show a very proud smile at this time. Even Ria's at this time, she said confidently, "Odin, my lord, you can just watch and fight like this." Lord Luo Hao, he is the most powerful. That mere Theodora Astaroth was far from Luo Hao's opponent. As Ria's voice just fell, at this time she once again turned her attention to Lord Luo Hao. Just like the Norse god Odin, but now she is also looking forward to Lord Luo Hao's victory. And back to the battlefield of Luo Hao and Theodora Astaroth. At this moment, Luo Hao, he also made an early gesture that he was about to transform. It's just that before the battle started, he smiled and said calmly to the number one in front of him, "It seems that your strength has improved a lot." In the blink of an eye, a silver and black caiman rider was easily displayed in front of everyone by you. Why not use your strongest form? Today's second update complete. Henshin, I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time and he stretched out his right hand fiercely. Damn it, what do you mean by this gesture? Are you making fun of me? With an order, the space-time drive on his waist. A 360-degree rotation occurred immediately. Interesting, maybe you can really give me a good fighting experience. He had once seen the power of the King of Demons, but when he saw the second-rank King of Cayman Rider at this time, he showed a very ferocious and angry expression. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After all, evenly matched battles are much more interesting than the crushing power of King Chonghuang. It's just that after seeing the energy boost of the other party, he still chose to use it at this time. The power of the second-order king of the time, a mere human being. Do you want to try to interview me, the Demon King? With Luo Hao's voice just fell. Immediately, he installed the second-order dial of the King of Time in his hand on the space-time drive on his waist. On the other side, Theodora Astaroth at this time, after seeing the appearance of the second-order King of Cayman Rider. Immediately the anger too, fire in his heart burned even more vigorously. Then he was vicious and said towards the Cayman Rider Xiwang Erji in front of him. The original Luo Hao, he also considered using Chonghuang Xiwang to deal with the number one in front of him. Listening to the words of Theodora Astaroth in front of him, he was indeed very calm when he was the second-rank King of Cayman Rider at this time. Sorry. There is no one who can claim to be king in front of me, because I am the only king in this world. The Demon King of Time and Space. As soon as Cayman Rider Xiwang Erji's voice fell, there was a loud bang. With a violent force on his right foot, it immediately turned into a silver streamer and rushed towards Theodora Astaroth in front of him. Before that Theodora Astaroth could react to Cayman Rider, the second-tier Wang's heavy punch had already hit him in the face. Once again there was a loud bang. Under the terrifying punch of Wang Erji when Cayman Rider, that Theodora Astaroth in the blink of an eye was blasted away violently. It turned into a one-streamer and flew out of Theodora Astaroth. He crashed into the castle and fell heavily on the ground in the distance. Having landed on the ground, he dragged out a long gully. Just from here, it is already possible to see what kind of terrifying power the second-rank attack of Cayman Rider Xiwang was hiding. But damn it, why does that guy still have that kind of power even under such a posture? I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time, and he spat out a mouthful of blood at the corner of his mouth. Then he was very embarrassed and stood up from the ground tremblingly. He stretched out his right hand and wiped the blood spilling from the corner of his mouth. Although he was clearly at a disadvantage just now, he still didn't think he would lose to the human being in front of him. However, rather than saying that he thinks Luo Hao is weaker than himself, it is more that he cannot accept that a mere human being will be stronger than himself. And at the same time, after seeing the wonderful performance of Wang Erji when Kamen Rider. At this time the Norse god Odin, he was also shaking his beard with one hand, said calmly, "Haha, as expected of the little brother Luo Hao. Although this form does not seem to have the dark golden form before, it is powerful, but it also possesses such terrifying power. How many artifacts does he have? For the aborigines of this devil's high school world, each form of Luo Hao is equivalent to a brand new artifact. Of course, they would also be extremely shocked by this, and listening to the shocked words of the Norse god Odin. At this time, Riaz also smiled lightly. We've long been taken aback by things like this. There are countless artifacts possessed by Lord Luo Hao. After following Luo Hao for such a long time, every time Luo Hao came up with a brand new result, they were not surprised. Even if Luo Hao didn't use a brand new power or artifact, instead his relatives would find it a little strange. After all, that is Lord Luo Hao, the devil of time and space. Clap, a sound. At this time, Wang Erji also left the castle when he was a Kamen Rider, landed gently on the ground in the distance, and arrived in front of the number 1. I saw that at this time he slowly raised his right hand. He hooked his fingers slightly and made a provocative action. Humph, you weren't so embarrassed just now, you look so confident just now, how can you only have this level of strength? No one knew whether the second-order Kamen Rider Shiwang was provoking this Theodora Astaroth in front of him or was deliberately mocking him in front of him. Regarding this point, in this world, I am afraid that only he himself knows. And accompanied by Kamen Rider Shiwang Erji's voice just fell. Boom 350 rumbling loudly. Theodora Astaroth still didn't answer when the Kamen Rider in front of her was when the second-rank king said. He was already slamming out a magic ball with powerful destructive power towards the opponent. It's just that in the face of the opponent's sudden attack, at this time of Kamen Rider, Wang Erji was very calm, and he avoided his attack with a sideways. And when dodging the opponent's attack, Wang Erji did not forget to mock what the opponent said at this time of Kamen Rider. Sorry, your sneak attack doesn't work for me at all. For the demon king of time and space, such things as predicting the future are also very simple. If you want to defeat me, I still hope that you can use more powerful power to fight against me. But don't let me be too disappointed, you hypocritical devil. And listening to the words of the Kamen Rider Shiwang's second order in front of him. At this time, Theodora Astaroth immediately took a step back. The instinct of his body made him feel very scared when facing the man in front of him. Damn it, you be *****D. Why are you so powerful all by yourself? At this moment, Theodora Astaroth seemed to have accepted the fact that Kamen Rider's terrifying power was King II. It's just that what he still can't accept is that the other party is just a human being and possesses such terrifying power. And he clearly has the blood of the Demon King. But the power is far inferior to the guy in front of him, which is a humiliating thing. And listening to the words of Theodora Astaroth in front of him. At this time, Kamen Rider Shiwang Erji also continued to raise his right hand. Humph, has such power made you so angry? It's not all my strength. If it's just this level today and you're already powerless, then I'm really disappointed in you. Before Kamen Rider, Wang Erji might have really been mocking the guy in front of him. But this time, they were indeed stimulating Theodora Astaroth in front of them. I want him to explode with even more power. Otherwise, the game would be really boring. And listening to the words of Kamen Rider Shiwang's second order. Odin, the Nordic god who stood in the distance and watched the battle. He also continued to stroke his beard, widening his only remaining eye and said, "It seems that the strength of the other party is still unable to make little brother Luo Hao feel fun. It's just the pureness that can make my good little brother feel the fun of fighting. Maybe there is not much in this world." Obviously, the words of Odin at this moment are telling the terrifying strength of the king's second order when Kamen Rider. In his understanding. I am afraid that there are not many people in this world who can match the power of this man named Kamen Rider Toki King in front of him. And the other side is in the occult research department of the distant Dog King Academy. At this time Azazel, he also supported himself with one hand and said the communication magic that shone with a faint blue light in his ear. Haha, Sazex, the battle over there has already begun. I can clearly feel the terrifying power of Luo Hao. And space is already extremely unstable and is about to collapse. Although Azazel, he was not on the battlefield, but even so he can still feel it outside. The terrifying power of Kamen Rider's second-order king. And at the current stage, the alien space that was originally used for battle is beginning to collapse. And I am Sazex in the distant definiteness. At this time, he also said with a hand to the communication magic that shone with a faint blue light in his ear. With the strength of Lord Luo Hao, this battle will probably end soon. While talking about Kamen Rider at this time, Wang Erji also slowly raised his right hand, making a slightly provocative gesture. Humph. It's just a little bit like this. At least it's not something that can be solved in an instant. I saw Theodora Astaroth at this time, and a terrifying black magic was immediately condensed on him. However, we also took some hands on the front here, ready to catch that guy. If you only understand it from the perspective of the demon high school world, you will definitely feel his terrifying power. For a man who often puts a smile on his lips, such an expression is very rare. Today's fourth update, please support a wave of full subscriptions, thank you readers. In the face of the absolute power of the second-order king of Kamen Rider, he still seemed so weak. Although it is said that he is a person from the Underworld, even if he has the identity of the blood relative of the Demon King, we cannot just let him go. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Obviously, at this time, when the Kamen Rider was a second-order king, he also believed that the opponent's ability at this moment had reached a new height. But this is only from the perspective of the demon high school world. Feeling the magic power bursting out from Theodora Astaroth in front of him, at this time Kamen Rider Goodli's Shuang's second order he finally nodded and said, "Some rare, at this moment Sazex, his expression is even serious. At least it's an opponent who can beat Kamen Rider Shi Wang Erji a little bit." Boom, back to the battlefield between Theodora Astaroth and Kamen Rider II. Maybe the battle has only just begun. And listening to the words of the Kamen Rider Shuang's second order in front of him, it was immediately Theodora Astaroth at this time. He also clenched his fists and assumed a fighting stance again. I saw that he continued viciously at this time, full of confidence, and said towards the Kamen Rider Shi Wang Erji in front of him, "But don't underestimate people too much. A mere human is trying to despise the blood of my Demon King." Obviously, the bloodline of the Demon King gave Theodora Astaroth incomparable confidence and powerful strength. What is more important is the dignity that is higher than ordinary people. As the highest-level demon and the descendant of the Demon King, he would never allow himself to lose to this human being in front of him, although this may no longer be able to be distinguished from human beings. But when he heard Theodora Astaroth's words, he did not immediately respond to the opponent with a 353 fighting stance at the time of the Kamen Rider. At this time, he slowly raised his right hand and continued to make a provocative action. Then he spoke slowly. "Humph. Fighting isn't about words, and since you're so confident in your own strength, come on. Then let me see how far you can get after using so many means." Obviously, at this moment, the second-rank king of Kamen Rider had already entered the state of battle early. And looking at the two people who have entered the state of battle, Odin at this time, he also immediately showed an extremely expectant look. Kuoh, the battle is finally about to officially begin, really looking forward to the Abke battle between the superior demon and Luo Hao. Which side will win? As Odin's voice just fell, he was still laughing loudly at this time. His voice was extremely heroic. It's just that although he said this on his mouth, in his heart, he was very clear about this battle, that Theodora Astaroth had absolutely no chance to win. I listened to Odin's words, and standing beside him at this moment belonged to Luo Hao's retinue. At this time they also showed a very speechless expression, and even the corners of their mouths twitched unconsciously. At this time she also said secretly in her heart, "Master Odin, can he really be regarded as the main god of Norse mythology by his appearance?" Such a cynical attitude is almost exactly the same as that of a Sassel on the fallen angel's side. Obviously, in Rhea's heart, at this moment, Odin is already in the same category as Azazel and they are all cynical people. It's just that Rhea's felt that way. But he is also very clear in his heart that although these two guys seem to be cynical, they are still quite serious and responsible when dealing with some important matters. And go back to the battlefield of Theodora Astaroth and Kamen Rider Shuang II. "Damn it, arrogant human, try my trick." As soon as Theodora Astaroth's voice fell, he raised his two arms with the magic power of his entire body immediately condensed, aiming at the Kamen Rider Shikyo Nikai in front of him. Soon, a huge jet-black magic force with terrifying destructive power was already in the middle of his two hands. In an instant, it has condensed into a black magic group. Such a terrifying magic group, if it were bombarded directly on the body of a normal demon, I am afraid it would be blown away in the blink of an eye. Even if it is said that it can blow up a mountain in an instant, it is not surprising at all. After all, number one's body is still flowing with the blood of the superior demon, the Demon King's family. It is not surprising to have such a terrifying power. It's just a pity that the person standing in front of him is not an ordinary person, but the Demon King who can manipulate time and space. At this moment, Kamen Rider Shuang's second order, he looked at Theodora Astaroth in front of him. Looking at the pitch-black magic power group condensed in his hands, he also said with a little interest, Interesting, such a huge magical power. I am afraid that the destructive power is also quite powerful." While talking about Kamen Rider, Wang Erji was also on his right. Cut through the space and took out a time-limit sword from it. Although it is said that this weapon has never been used in this world, but it is just right to use it against this guy. When accompanied by Kamen Rider, Wang Erji's voice just fell, and he was already holding the long sword in his hand, posing a fighting stance. I saw that at this time, he immediately raised his right hand and aimed the black magic ball in his hand at the Kamen Rider Shuang Erji in front of him. As long as he was about to release his skills, he also said to the second-rank Kamen Rider Shi Wang in front of him in an extremely hideous manner, "Let me disappear into this world." As soon as his voice fell, he was already like the pitch-black magic ball in his hand that was hiding incomparably terrifying destructive power. Tossed to the Kamen Rider Shi Wang's second order in front of him. A loud bang. I saw a flash of black light. That Theodora Astaroth, his attack has already been completed. Looking at the black light, when he was heading towards Kamen Rider at an unparalleled speed, Wang Erji flew away. At this time, the Norse god Odin, he is very interested in himself, Beard said. Faced with such an attack, I wonder how little brother Luo Hao will face. At this moment, Odin, he is very curious about Kamen Rider Shi Wang's next preparation, especially the long sword he just took out from nowhere. According to the world of Devil's High School, the long sword Luo Hao took out must be within the scope of the artifact. Of course, at this time, Odin would be extremely curious about the weapons in the hands of the second-order king of his Kamen Rider time. Other relatives of Luo Hao in Russia. After they saw Luo Hao, in addition to the brand new longsword, they immediately showed a curious expression, although they have been following Luo Hao for a long time, but they still haven't seen Luo Hao use this long sword. Of course, they would be curious about this long sword, which is also a very normal thing. I don't know, what kind of power is hidden behind this long sword of Kamen Rider Shi Wang's second order? Gradually at this time, Riaz, she said quite curiously. Generally speaking, as long as it is a weapon taken from Lord Luo Hao, it must have unparalleled terrifying power. As for Saber's words, she also showed a look of anticipation at this time. So the master can also use a long sword, it's so intriguing. Obviously, as a holy swordsman, whoever took him at this time was also quite curious about the long sword in the hands of the second-order king of Kamen Rider. After all, if this is the case, the two of them may have the same hobby. Man faced the black magic power that was flying towards him at super high speed. At this time of Kamen Rider, Wang Erji was also very calm, raised his right hand unhurriedly, and raised the time limit sword in his hand. That's just a little bit like it. As his voice just fell, brush, click, the huge enterprise with hidden terrifying destructive power was the energy ball, and it was immediately slashed down. Incomparably easy, the dark gods and demons that were originally hidden terrifying destructive powers strive to be incomparably easy. It was split into two by the time limit sword in the hands of Kamen Rider Shi Wang Erji. The remaining magic power attacked on the ground on the left and right sides of Kamen Rider Shi Wang's second order, and immediately rumbled with a loud bang, blasting out two huge potholes. It's just from here that the terrifying magic and destructive power of No. 1 at this moment can be seen. 0 ask for flowers. It's just that I can tell you clearly, the power of the artifact and the user complement each other. Theodora Astaroth at this time, thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running and listen to the words of Theodora Astaroth. You might think that all my powers come from artifacts, but that's normal for you to understand. At this time, Kamen Rider Shi Wang Erji just slowly put the time limit in his hand behind the sword and made a power charging action. At this time, Theodora Astaroth also immediately showed an expression of consternation and panic, obviously after seeing his attack being diffused. Today's second update, looking for a follow-up subscription. Thank you readers for your support. As soon as Wang Erji's voice fell along with Kamen Rider Shiki, an incomparably terrifying power erupted from the time limit sword in his hand. While talking, at this time, the sharp blade in Kamen Rider Shi Wang's right hand also began to shine faintly. It's just that the strength of the other party will only make Kamen Rider Shi Wang's second order more interested. He thought that the second-rank Kamen Rider Shi Wang in front of him was just relying on a powerful artifact to obtain powerful power. By the way, this battle should also be over. That guy, he can always take out countless artifacts to increase his strength. The other side looked at his own attack, so easily resolved by the other side. After all, playing against the weak will only make him boring. Cough, damn it, the power of that long sword again. The original time limit sword was only able to reveal such terrifying strength by triggering its nirvana. But at this moment, the second-rank Kamen Rider Shuang, who possessed the power to meet demons, does not need to use this method to stimulate this power at all. Words for him. At this moment, he only needs a little thought to gather the strength in his hand, and he can easily achieve the level of nirvana. And at this moment, he is also doing such a thing. Concentrate power in the time limit sword in hand. Then inspire more terrifying strength. Completely annihilate the Theodora Astaroth in front of him in this world. 353, and feel the terrifying power that Wang Erji exudes when Kamen Rider, the Norse god Odin at this time. He also showed a slightly surprised expression. Then he said with a smile, "Oh, who such terrifying power. It is estimated that little brother Luo Hao, he wants to decide the winner within this round. Obviously, as long as you feel the terrifying power that poured out of Kamen Rider Shuang's second-order body, the answer is already available without even thinking. He wants to end the fight within this round, and as the family members of Luo Hao. At this time, Rias and Hajime Aquino, they also showed a look of anticipation waiting for the end of this battle. There was an idea in their hearts. That is, the battle will end after Lord Luo Hao's next attack. And Lord Luo Hao, he has the power to be so terrifying, can end the battle in the blink of an eye. Asia, it seems that Lord Luo Hao, he will be able to avenge you soon. That fellow Theodora Astaroth will soon get the punishment he deserves. I saw Rias at this time with her arms crossed on her chest. Then he turned slightly to the side, showed a shallow smile, and said to Asia, who was beside him. And listening to Rias' words at this time, Asia, she also immediately showed a shallow smile. Then she gave a sharp nod at this time. Then she also focused her eyes on the Kamen Rider on the battlefield, Wang Erji and Theodora Astaroth. She said with a sweet smile, "Yeah. I've always believed in Lord Luo Hao." Obviously, at this moment, Asia, she is very happy that Luo Hao cares about her own affairs so much. Originally, Asia did not have much hatred for Theodora Astaroth. It's just that since Lord Luo Hao, he was able to punish that Theodora Astaroth for himself, she would be happy for it. And feel the terrifying aura emanating from Wang Erji when he focused on the Kamen Rider in front of him. Immediately at this time, Theodora Astaroth also showed a somewhat panicked and frightened expression. Damn it, why is this human being able to burst out with such power? This is no longer something that humans can do. Even if he has so many such terrifying artifacts, there is absolutely no such possibility. This guy is definitely not human. Finally, at this time, Theodora Astaroth came to his senses. The man in front of him named Kamen Rider Shuang's second order, although he is a human race. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running, but in fact it is a demon of time and space. At this time of 2-6, Kamen Rider Shuang's second order just said indifferently, "Leave this space and escape from the front of the Kamen Rider Tokyo Nikkei in front of him." It's just that when he really felt the terrifying power emanating from Kamen Rider Shuang's second-order body, he was already very clear. I didn't expect that he still chose to run away, which really disappointed me. At the beginning of this battle, he thought he could win the battle. The time of the whole world is suspended. Humph, I thought he would be a little more confident after he had that power. The result of the battle was already doomed from the very beginning. At this moment, he had no other ability at all except to escape. In this battle, he has absolutely no chance of winning. Well, but that's normal too. After all, this battle was doomed to fail from the very beginning. It should not be said that he has no other choice except to escape. I didn't even think about it. At this time, Theodora Astaroth turned around abruptly, wanting to leave the battlefield. Today's third update, the next world is about to open. As soon as Wang Erji's voice fell along with Kamen Rider Shi, he already snapped his fingers, just looking at the number one who was rushing towards the rear. This battle is over immediately. Under Kamen Rider Shuang's second-order time-stop ability, all time is stopped at this time, even the relatives of Luo Hao and the Norse god Odin. The time of all of them was frozen in place at this moment. Under the terrifying special ability of the second-order king of Kamen Rider, no one can make an exception. Of course, the most critical, it was the same Theodora Astaroth who was about to escape. At this moment, he was also stopped for all the time, stagnated in midair. 18. Although it is said to be stopped time, however, everyone present, their consciousness is preserved. That is to say, At this moment, they are very clear that their time was stopped by the second-order king of the fake one-faced knight. And at the same time, at this time, the second-rank king of Kamen Rider, he was also about to release his Nirvana sword attack, but before the battle is about to end, he also sighed. Although I originally wanted to make this battle a little more interesting, but for some reason this battle unconsciously turned into a crushing battle. Along with Kamen Rider Shiki Wang Erji's voice just fell. Immediately, he was already slashing the time limit sword in his right hand with great ease. Boom, without using Nirvana, simply relying on that terrifying power. At this time, when the Kamen Rider was a second-order king, he still slashed out a golden sword aura with incomparably terrifying and destructive power. With that unparalleled, terrifying, destructive power, I saw that the huge golden sword energy at this time was dragging a long ravine above the ground. With an extremely terrifying, destructive posture and energy, he slashed towards the stationary Theodora Astaroth in midair. Then, incomparably easy and incomparably simple, the golden sword aura slashed by Kamen Rider Shiwang's second order split that Theodora Astaroth in two. This battle is also from this moment. Official end, humph next time, I might just use Churyude's cage hands. This fight will be a little more interesting and bland. While talking at this time, the second-rank Kamen Rider Shiwang, he also threw the time limit sword in his right hand. Then he gently placed his right hand on top of the space-time drive on his waist. Gently pull it out and take out the Shiwang second-order dial above. The armor of the second-order king of the Kamen Rider time also immediately turned into countless stars and dissipated in the air. And just when Luo Hao just finished the posture of releasing his transformation, Rias and others and Odin, at this time, they finally resumed the flow of time. Immediately at this time, Odin said with a hand slapped on his back with some distress, "This little brother Luo Hao is really fighting, just fighting. Why stop this kind of thing all the time? It's still on a large scale. Obviously." At this moment, Odin felt quite distressed about Luo Hao's extremely high authority and huge scope. Ding. If you go back to the host, you can currently choose between 1, Godslayer World and 2, Hakoniwa World. I never thought that this system could even do things like switch the world. Ding, congratulations to the host for completing more than 50% of the story and sign-in rewards in this world. Huh, these 2 worlds, interesting. Immediately, in the process of system upgrade. However, just after Luo Hao ended the fight, maybe Hakoba would be more suitable for me. There are more strong people there. Listen to the electronic hybrid female voice of the system in your head. At this time, Luo Hao also showed a slightly excited expression. In his mind, a familiar electronic mixed female voice suddenly sounded. "Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. That was really fun." Luo Hao at this time, he also asked. Yes, System 353 has been upgraded. Currently, the host can choose any 2 worlds to transfer or continue to stay in this world to get the remaining sign-in rewards. Immediately, system, which 2 worlds can you choose from at present? In the middle of occult research at Kuoh Academy. At this moment, Luo Hao's family members all stood in front of him with serious faces, as if waiting for an announcement. Obviously, Luo Hao at this moment, he has something important to announce. I saw Rias at this time, she suddenly took a step forward. Then she spoke to Lord Luo Hao in front of her. "Lord Luo Hao, all our members are ready to follow in your footsteps and enter the next world." Obviously, it belongs to Luo Hao's relatives. They have already learned from Luo Hao and are going to go to the next world. As Luo Hao's family members, they naturally want to follow Luo Hao's footsteps and enter the next world. And listen to the words of these relatives in front of him. Luo Hao at this time, he also nodded. Originally, he wanted to bring all these family members to the world of the next lesson, and since they all offered it up now, Luo Hao would naturally not refuse. In addition, after arriving in that world, there should be a certain amount of experience in their power. After all, compared to this world. Perhaps in the world called Hakoniwa, the combat power system there will be more advanced. Even if it is the power of the King of Demons that he possesses, but in that world called Hakoniwa, maybe still not the strongest. The fight that followed was much more interesting than Luo Hao had expected, in the world of Hakoniwa where terrifying powerhouses gather. I saw Luo Hao at this time, he was slightly sideways. He looked at his only male dependent, Kiba Yudo. Afterwards, he also spoke in his low, hoarse, and serious voice. "Then here, I know that I will leave it to you to take care of it. After all, we're probably going to be gone for a while if no one stays here. I'm afraid things will get a little troublesome." The original Luo Hao, he also thought about bringing all his family members to the world of Dasakote. Just a little thought, maybe it would be more convenient to stay here alone. And listening to Lord Luo Hao's order, at this time, Kiba Yudo didn't show any reluctance at all. Even at this time, he was also very serious, nodding abruptly in response to Luo Hao's words. Well, I see, Lord Luo Hao, I will definitely follow your orders. The occult research department here is properly protected as Luo Hao's dependents. At this moment, Kiba Yudo is also extremely loyal. Yes, that man will strictly obey Luo Hao's orders. I listened to Yudo Kiba's firm words in front of me, and Luo Hao also nodded slightly at this time. Afterwards, he shifted his gaze again and focused on the relatives in front of him. In the world we are going to enter this time, the strength of the people over there is quite terrifying. Even if you are in this world, you still possess extremely powerful power. But in that world where powerhouses gather, I'm afraid your power will appear very insignificant. So for you, it is also a very good opportunity to exercise. I went to the world in the little garden. In the blink of an eye, they had disappeared in place. The system is starting to process. The sound of the system in Luo Hao's mind just fell. Good Li Hao, the system can start to travel through the world. The world I choose is the world of Hakoniwa. Like the remaining few relatives, they don't have much sense of a powerful opponent. Then he closed his eyes and meditated in his heart. As for that, Roseweather and Zenobia Quarta, they just showed a somewhat excited expression. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Seeing the incomparably determined eyes of the family members in front of him, Luo Hao also nodded at this time. I feel happy because I can make myself stronger by fighting against a stronger enemy. Ding. The system is processed and the world transfer switch starts. Ding, the host selection is complete. With Luo Hao and his family as the center, a huge ball immediately appeared and wrapped them all. Today's first update, because we have to switch the world, so the update is a bit slower. As far as they are concerned, all they want is just who is behind Lord Luo Hao. Listening to Lord Luo Hao's words, Riaz and Himejima Aquino at this time also showed serious expressions and nodded sharply. Immediately, when Luo Hao opened his eyes again, he already found himself in a forest. It's just that in addition to his family members, there are two other women who he doesn't know, and a man wearing headphones. Luo Hao naturally has a certain degree of understanding of the three people in front of him. I saw Luo Hao at this time, he said calmly. It seems that success has come to the world of this problem child. I just saw the three people in front of me. At this time, Luo Hao, he can already be judged by you, and he has successfully descended into the world of this problem child. At the same time, standing behind Luo Hao's family members belonged to him. At this time, they also immediately looked around and looked at the lush woods. Seeing Riaz at this time, she said cautiously, "Here is it Otherworld, it doesn't look anything different." Obviously, at this time Riaz, she thought that this Otherworld was not much different from the world he said before. It's just that he is also very clear that these are not much different in appearance, but there may be an incomparably huge difference inside. After all, it is a very stupid thing to judge only by appearance. Himejima Aquino, who was still standing beside Riaz, also quickly discovered the three people in front of her at this time. By the way, who are those three guys? I can feel it very clearly from them. They all have a very special power hidden within them. Obviously, even if the power system is completely different, Himejima Aquino at this time, she was still able to easily judge the special power contained in the three people standing in front of her at this moment. And immediately belonged to Luo Hao's family members at this time, they also immediately assumed a fighting posture, as if ready to fight at any time. After all, they didn't know anything about the three people in front of them if they were opponents. Then they were a little too relaxed. It was just when Luo Hao's family members were just ready to fight. Immediately Luo Hao at this time, he just calmly raised his right hand and said a gesture that his family members should not do it. Looking at Lord Luo Hao's actions, Riaz and the others immediately put down their fighting stance, although they did not know who the three people in front of them were. But since it was Lord Luo Hao who signaled to them not to take action, at this time they could only obey Lord Luo Hao's orders. And soon at this time, the man named Reverse Izyoi, he also discovered Luo Hao, who suddenly appeared in front of him, and his dependents, Abk. I saw that at this time, he immediately showed a rather interested expression. Interesting, it seems that the three of us were not the only ones who were summoned to the world. In other words, I can clearly look like that man and feel the terrifying power contained in him. It may be the sympathy between the strong. Even a completely different power system. But at this time, Izyoi was reversed. He was the same, able to feel the terrifying power from Luo Hao, the other two women who were standing in the back of Izyoi behind him. At this time, they couldn't help but complain that Izyoi received it. I said, how did you judge the terrifying power of that man? It's hard to tell this kind of thing just from its appearance. While talking about Kasugabe Yo at this time, he also glanced at Luo Hao in front of him and his family behind him. Unable to bear it, Ju Yuan Fei Nio also complained at this time. In other words, there are many women behind that man, and it doesn't seem like it's a good thing. There was no way, just at first glance, Luo Hao had already left a bad impression on the three people in front of him. But for Luo Hao, these probably have no impact. But just when Luo Hao turned his eyes away from the retrograde Izyoi in front of him, in his mind, the system prompt sound appeared again. Ding, congratulations to the host for signing in to Hakoniwa World. Reward boon with absolute immunity to negative effects. Hidden mission release, defeat reverse Izyoi reward unknown. While staring at the sound of the system in his mind, Lu Hao just showed a shallow smile at this time. I saw that at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he stretched out his hand to signal the two girls beside him to step back a little. Then he spoke up. Humph, interesting. I feel that this man can bring me a lot of fun. It seems that it is not a wrong world to come to this world. While talking about the retrograde Izyoi at this time, he clenched his fists and moved his joints, smelly sound, and listened to the words of Izyoi. The two women standing behind him couldn't help but complain at this time. Humph, a man with only fighting in his head looks so boring, obviously Miss Asuka at this time. He is about to go back to Izyoi, the behavior is quite dissatisfied. It's just the words of Kasugabe Yo on the other side. He didn't show much emotion. He even looked forward to what kind of power this man named Reverse Izyoi had, and there was a woman with rabbit ears hiding in the grass. She just showed a very panicked expression at this time. At this time, she said in that trembling voice, it's terrible, these two men are terrible, and I clearly just summoned 3 people to come to this world of Hakoniwa. Why do so many people come to this world, and what kind of monsters are they? They possess such terrifying power. Can these people really work in our community? The original Black Rabbit, she just wanted to summon some stronger people to this world. Help their community get through this difficult time. It's just that he didn't expect that he had summoned so many problem children. Even at this time, she had to hide in the grass in the dark and dare not come out. Looking at Reverse Izyoi, he was ready to fight. At this time, it belongs to Luo Hao's dependents. At this time, they also immediately showed a vigilant look. Seeing Ria's at this time, she also spoke in a very serious tone. Lord Luo Hao, the other party seems to want to fight you. Ria's words were very obvious. She wanted to replace Luo Hao in the battle. After all, although the other party looks very powerful, she is also very clear that the other party is just a human being. And as a family member, she has too few opportunities to make a move. She still hopes to contribute a little more to Lord Luo Hao. After all, he also belongs to Luo Hao's family. Just listening to Ria's words behind him, Luo Hao at this time just raised the corner of his mouth slightly. Then he responded to Ria's who was behind him. No, you should step back. I am very clear about your intentions. It's just that in the current situation, you are simply not suitable to take action. The power of the other party is far superior to yours. Luo Hao's remarks are not too problematic. Ask for flowers. In the body of that reversed Izyoi, the mystery of the third perpetual motion machine was hidden. Although it is said that he has not fully developed the power of this kind of power. But even so, the current retrograde Izyoi is not something that Rias and the others can handle. In the end, Luo Hao had to deal with this battle himself. And such a powerful man like Reverse Izyoi. Luo Hao, he thinks, it's a little more fun to play by yourself. I saw that at this time he took a step forward. Continuing, he showed a shallow smile and said towards the retrograde Izyoi in front of him. You said just now that I could bring you a little fighting fun, right? It seems very coincidental. I also have the same opinion as you. I also think you can bring me a lot of fighting fun, but I hope you won't let me down. Boost, Gera, blade like fire. As soon as Luo Hao's voice fell, in his right hand, one had already withdrawn. The red dragon-like hand, still in the right hand, also held a pitch-black sharp blade. At this moment, Luo Hao does not intend to use the power of Kamen Rider to fight. On the contrary, he wanted to use the combat power system in the Demon High School world to test the strength of Reverse Izyoi. Then, come on, let's start the fight between the two of us. And looking at Luo Hao, who has already summoned the artifact. At this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he also immediately showed an excited expression. Interesting, it seems to be a very powerful force. Coming to this world is really a good choice. I didn't expect that just when I came here I already met an opponent who could make me excited. Reverse Izyoi is not as talkative as those previous opponents. Immediately he had already taken steps at this time. A loud bang. At this time, he was already looking at Luo Hao in front of him at a fast 360 speed. The speed is so fast that people can't even capture its trajectory at all. The ground also burst into a huge gap because of the huge force it exploded when it started. The dust that was raised even made the two girls who stood behind Izuyoi just now. They all raised their hands to resist the wind and dust. Even Kasugebe at this time, he was complaining. Can that guy's power really be considered a human being? Just starting out, he already possesses such terrifying power. Obviously, at this time, Kasugebe was the first time she saw such a terrifying man. And the woman named Kuoh Asuka standing next to Kasugebe, she said in shock at the same time. That level of power is no longer in the category of humans. That man, what the hell is going on with him? Just when the two girls were still complaining about the terrifying power of Izuyoi, in the blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of Luo Hao at this time of the Izuyoi. Humph, let's see what power you have. As soon as Nihui Izuyoi's voice fell, he was already violently punching Luo Hao in front of him. The strength was so strong that it even directly generated extreme wind pressure, sweeping everything around it. It is impossible for people to imagine how terrifying things will happen if such a fist falls directly on a person. As for Luo Hao, if he didn't choose to avoid him at this time, he would probably be directly hit by this powerful punch. But facing such a powerful blow, Luo Hao at this time had no intention of avoiding it. Such a formidable opponent, if you just blindly choose to avoid it, the fun of fighting will definitely be reduced a lot. And Luo Hao, he didn't want the fun of this fun fight to diminish in the slightest. Boost, 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 boost. Immediately at this time, the multiplier sound was constantly ringing. In an instant, Luo Hao's body was already shining with a dazzling red light. His power was also increased several times in just a few seconds. In addition, he was already a body strengthened by the power of every demon. If you just want to teach with the reverse Izuyoi at this moment, just this intensity is enough. Immediately, at this time Luo Hao, he raised the right arm of his caged hand armed with the Qilong Emperor. He suddenly blocked reverse Izuyoi's fist. It's really the first time I've seen someone who can compete with my strength to such an extent. It's really exciting to meet such a close opponent. After a brief confrontation, it is unimaginable that such a terrifying power is just the aftermath of the collision when both of them are fighting. The fists of the two did not decide the real victory or defeat. And the deafening sound also spread throughout the forest at this time. A huge pothole quickly cracked above the ground, after regaining the distance from the man named Luo Hao in front of him. What a surprising thing this is, the power of these two men turned out to be so terrifying, and back to Izuyoi he immediately retreated violently. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The fists of the two people collided violently at this time, and the super shock wave spread rapidly with the two people at the center. Quite simply, he was extremely excited about Luo Hao, who was going back to Izuyoi at this time. Interesting. Really funny, you're more powerful than anyone I've ever seen in 2-6. It was he who showed a very excited expression, looking at what the man in front of him said. And listening to the words of the reversed Izuyoi, Luo Hao at this time also showed a shallow smile. What if I use such power? As Luo Hao's voice fell at this time, he had already snapped his fingers gently. Immediately. The man named Reverse Izuyoi standing in front of him, his time has been stopped. At this moment, he could only stand there blankly, unable to act, because his time has been stopped in place by Luo Hao's terrifying power. He couldn't move, but although he couldn't control his body to move at this moment, the consciousness in his brain still existed. He was able to realize very clearly that there was no way for him to act at this moment. And looking at the retrograde Izuyoi who couldn't move freely in front of him, the Luo Han at this time, he also said very indifferently. How about it, even though it's only the most elementary level of Shizuo's power, but with your current strength, is there a way to resist my Shizuo one? At this time of Luo Hao, he did not use the power of time stop with extremely high authority. Because he is very curious, at this moment, there is no way for you to use all your strength to return to Izuyoi. Is there any way he can counteract his rudimentary time stop power? And looking at that dumbfounded standing in the same place, the reverse of Izuyoi. At this time, Kuoh Asuka and Kasugebe, both of them were at the same time showing a rather shocked expression. I saw the long-distance flying birds at this time, she said in surprise. That guy, what happened to him? Why can't I act? Could it be that facing that man, he was already afraid and couldn't move on? Obviously, at this moment Ju Yuan Fei Nio, she thought that she was under Luo Hao's terrifying aura. At this moment, Izyoi was unable to use all his strength, and even his actions became extremely difficult. But these are just her thoughts. As for Kasugabyo, who was standing beside Asuka for a long time, she quickly discovered that something was wrong. I saw that at this time he immediately spoke. I'm afraid it's not what you think it is. Going back to Izyoi, he was not afraid of being unable to act at all, but his time was stopped. Compared to Asuka's voice, Kasugabyo at this time seemed to be a little more rational. After a little thought, she could already judge. At this moment you go back to Izyoi, he was not at all afraid of being unable to act, but his time was frozen in place. He wanted to move, but there was no way to defy such power. And seeing that reverse Izyoi who couldn't move freely Rias at this time, she also showed a very proud smile and said, "Sure enough, under Luo Hao's terrifying power of beating and manipulating time, no one's power can resist. But then again, the strength of this man is indeed a bit formidable and exaggerated, and it is already possible to achieve such a level just by relying on the strength of the pure body. Although the amplitude is very subtle, it can be clearly seen that he is able to resist the power of time-stopping used by Luo Hao. After all, even if this man has not developed all his abilities, he still possesses such terrifying strength." When he saw the reversal of Izyoi, he reluctantly said to the Luo Hao in front of him, "You, what use, what power? Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone, net. Your support enables us to keep the site running." But he just relied on his strong body, so he was able to resist Luo Hao's time-stop power to a small extent. What a surprising fact. Then he was extremely calm and said really excitedly. And seeing the reversal Izyoi who was able to resist his own power, Luo Hao immediately showed a shallow smile. Although it is only the most basic time stop, if it is an ordinary person, there is no way to resist the power of time stop like me. I'm afraid even the Lion King can't compete with him. And you are actually able to do this to such an extent that it is indeed far stronger than ordinary humans. Rias at this time she said so guessing. Although at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, there is no way for him to completely control his body. While talking about the reversal at this time, Izyoi wants him to continue to burst out with more powerful power. Drink. In the end, it was accompanied by an angry shout and a broken sound. Suddenly, countless transparent energy-like fragments suddenly shattered on Izyoi's body. Very immersed at this time, he finally relied on his own strength to break through the most elementary time-stop power that Luo Hao exerted. However, at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, his physical strength was obviously consumed a lot. Cough. Even his breathing became a little weak. Obviously, although it successfully broke through Luo Hao's time-stop ability, it was also a big drain for him. It's just that he can do it to such an extent that it is already very powerful. After all, right now, he can't even use half of his original strength. At this moment, he is just relying on his instinct to drive his own strength. Looking at Luo Hao, who had broken through Shizuo's reverse, Izyoi at this time he nodded as well. Humph, it's interesting. I can only be considered an opponent if I can break through my ability to stop when I was a beginner. If you can't even resist the very elementary power of time stop just now, then I'm really disappointed in you. As he was talking at this time, Liuhan raised his right hand again and raised the great sword in his hand called Liuran Ryuhyuo. Immediately at this time he assumed a fighting stance again. But before the battle, he stood behind Luo Hao and belonged to his family. When they saw that Shizu had actually broken through Master Luo Hao's time stop, they immediately showed an extremely shocked expression. How is this possible, that guy? He is actually the power that can resist Lord Luo Hao Shishui. What the hell is going on here? I have never seen such a power as your lord if someone can resist. Obviously, it was the first time he saw Rias in this world. That it was true that someone could break through Lord Luo Hao's incomparably terrifying shitting power. Although it was said to be only the most elementary level when he went back to Izyoi, he really did it, breaking through Shizuo. No wonder Lord Luo Hao, before he came to this world, he repeatedly reminded them that this is a very powerful world, and there are many strong people in it. At this moment, Rias and others finally understood why Lord Luo Hao made such a statement. After regaining control of his own body, he also immediately spoke to Luo Hao in front of him at this time of the Izyoi. Damn it, your abilities are so diverse. The move just now was really awesome. Also, you are the first man who can take my fist. You are the first man who can make me so embarrassed. While talking about the reversal of Izyoi at this time, he also slammed his hands together again and made a knocking sound. Who wants him to continue showing a very confident look and said to Luo Hao in front of him. But that's what makes me even more excited. If you beat an enemy without any difficulty, it would be a bit too boring for me. As soon as the voice of reverse Hui Izyoi fell, he once again clenched his fists and put on a fighting stance. And listening to the words of Ivy League in front of him, Luo Hao at this time also nodded and said, "Like you is also the first man who can break through the power of my time-stop seal. That's it, the battle becomes a little more interesting. This battle is full of fun, for the two of them are equally terrifying powerhouses." And the woman named Black Rabbit was hiding in the grass. At this time, he just showed a very panicked expression. It's terrifying, what the hell is going on with these two men? Why can they have such terrifying power? If the two of them can really help our good king's community, it must be a very happy thing. But just with the way I am now, can I really control the two men? At this moment, High Rabbit felt deeply worried about these two men. Although both of them are incomparably powerful, but the stronger it is, the harder it is to control. But at first she just wanted to let these two people help her. As long as these two men are persuaded, there will be no problem. In theory, that's right. This time he did not choose to attack actively. On the contrary, he was very cautious, looking at Luo Hao in front of him, waiting for the opponent to attack. After all, after experiencing the crisis of time stop just now, he was already very clearly aware that the man in front of him might have more different special abilities. If you are a little careless, you may fall into the rhythm of the other party. At that time, it will be difficult to exert one's own power. Although it was said that Izyoi was in reverse, he was very excited to meet an opponent that was evenly matched with him. But he didn't want to lose the battle. I didn't see Luo Hao going back to Izyoi without any movement at this time. He also judged very clearly that the other party was waiting for his active attack. Since the other party thinks like this, it is better to follow his ideas. Immediately at this time of Arhat, he had already raised his right arm that was holding the Ryuren Ryu Hyo Teidao. Since you are waiting for my active attack, 360, then I will obey you. As soon as the words of if good fell, he immediately swung a knife towards the inverse Izyoi in front of him. There was a loud rumbling sound, and the sword chi that had an aura of destruction that day immediately flew towards the counter-returning Izyoi in front of him. The sword energy that Luo Hao Zuo Hui cut out this time didn't have much destructive power. If he were to take this sword chi attack from the front, he would probably suffer very serious injuries. And Luo Hao, he just wanted to test the opponent's strength to take this one. And looking at this blazing sword energy that hides terror, destructive breath, and ultra-high temperature, the retrograde at this time Izyoi, he also immediately showed a confident smile. Humph. There's no way to beat me at this level. As soon as Nihui Izyoi's voice fell, he had already placed his fists in front of him. Then, there was a loud bang. The flaming sword energy suddenly bombarded the arms of reverse Izyoi. The booming sound immediately erupted centered on Izyoi. The huge sound resounded throughout the forest once again, and the surrounding trees could not even bear the terrifying sound and shock wave, even at the foot of the retrograde Izyoi. The ultra-high temperature flame sword energy even melted the ground into a pool of magma. However, there is still no way to cause any damage to reverse Izyoi. Afterwards, I saw that at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, with a little effort, he had already cracked this blazing sword energy. In the blink of an eye, what was originally a blazing sword energy filled with aura of destruction and ultra-high temperature turned into a little red starlight and dissipated in the air. Humph, your trick doesn't seem to work very well for me. And listening to the words of the reversed Izyoi in front of him. At this time, Luo Hao, he just very indifferently slapped the Takai named Liu Ren Ryuhyu in his right hand on his shoulder. He did not immediately respond to the retrograde Izyoi in front of him with a fighting stance. Instead, he spoke very calmly at this time. Now you have not been able to exert all your strength and defeat the current you, it feels meaningless at all. It is undeniable that when you faced this blazing sword energy just now, it was very difficult, didn't you? Listening to the words of the person named Luo Haoran in front of him, at this time of the retrograde 16 nights, although he wanted to deny it, it was just like what he said. When he faced the blazing sword energy that this man slashed just now, it was indeed very difficult. It's just that he didn't want the fight to end like this. I saw that at this time, he continued to speak to Luo Hao in front of him. Indeed, just as you said, I was facing your indirect, this incomparably difficult effort just now. But even so, I haven't lost to you, have I? At this moment Izyoi, he didn't want to deny anything, he just wanted to let the battle continue. And listening to the words of Ivy League, Luo Hao at this time, he just released his right hand immediately. Dissipated in the air the caged hands and Ryuba Rukatachi that had already been summoned by the Red Dragon Emperor. That's why he said to the reversed Izyoi in front of him, Let's save this battle for the next time. I will help you to control all your powers smoothly, but I'm looking forward to another battle after growing up with you. And listen to Luo Hao's words. At this time Isyoi he also showed a shallow smile and said, "You're here to train me? Did I hear it right? Although the strength you showed just now is indeed very powerful, I haven't completely lost to you. And what I hate most is having someone else train me." Obviously, he was quite dissatisfied with Luo Hao's words at this time. Luo Hao's words seemed to be saying that his own strength is not as good as the other parties. This seemed to be an insult to Reverse Isyoi. And for Reverse Isyoi, I am afraid that there is no one other than Canary who can teach him. Of course, he was quite dissatisfied with Luo Hao's words at this time, which was also a very normal thing. And listening to the arrogant words of that reversed Isyoi. Standing behind Luo Hao, his family members immediately showed a very displeased expression. After all, for them, this was a personal invitation from the incomparably honorable Lord Luo Hao. Ordinary people may not have such an opportunity. It was even impossible to meet, but the man in front of him actually rejected Lord Luo Hao with a smile and seemed to make a mocking voice. How can this not make Luo Hao's family members feel a little unhappy? Even if you don't do it, it's already good. Come to the other side. The two girls who were standing behind Isyoi when they saw the two who stopped fighting finally showed a slightly puzzled expression. They didn't know what was going on the battlefield at this moment. I don't know what they were talking about with Luo Hao at that time. Seeing Jiayuan flying bird at this time, she asked with some doubts. Did I say those two guys were still fighting just now? Why suddenly stopped and started chatting again at this time? Sure enough, these men always change so quickly. Regarding the behavior of Luo Hao and Yu Hui Shi Yi and Zhu Yuan Fei Nio at this moment, she is somewhat incomprehensible. With the more attentive Kasuge Byo, she nodded and said at this moment. The two of them seemed to be having some sort of conversation, and I couldn't hear the exact voice. But it seems that the other party wants to be the master of Isyoi or something. Obviously, at this time, Kasuge Byo, she was more calm than Asuka and judged things more accurately. Although she hadn't heard clearly what Luo Hao and Nihui Isyoi were talking about, she had already judged it roughly. It's just that when I returned to Isyoi, I just rejected Luo Hao's invitation. Immediately, Luo Hao at this time, he also said, "Oh, do you think we are capable of defeating you now?" With Luo Hao's voice just fell. Immediately, he was already exuding an invisible and terrifying demonic pressure. The terrifying coercion instantly swept through the entire forest. This is far more powerful than ordinary people. Zero asked for flowers, but his expression is also telling everyone, but at this moment he is very strong. After all, the current retrograde Isyoi couldn't even use half of his original power. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running, and even if it is a strong person when facing such a terrifying coercion of the tomb. At this time of reversal Isyoi, although he did not immediately lose the strength to resist. As for the two girls who were standing in the back of Isyoi, they immediately crouched on the ground in pain. It's terrifying, that guy is not human at all. That kind of aura is not something that humans can do. They still feel very difficult to adapt. I saw Zhu Yuan Fei Nio and number 1 at this time, the two of them were colleagues who were telling Luo Hao's strength. And feel the terrifying power emanating from Luo Hao. Just the aura, it has already achieved such a degree. I even felt a bunch of negative effects on my body. It should not be said that it is half or even 1.5 stars, and there is no way to play it. If it is an ordinary person or a person with a slightly weaker strength, just feeling the coercion of Feng Mo, I am afraid they will fall on the spot. Just the majesty that radiates out is already capable of suppressing countless powerhouses. Damn it, what the hell is going on? Why is that man's murderous aura so strong? At this moment, although he is unwilling, he also admits that the power of the man in front of him is indeed far superior to him. I saw that at this time of the retrograde Isyoi he showed a rather grumpy expression. He gritted his teeth and said to Luo Hao in front of him, "Damn it, what the hell did you guys do? Why can I clearly feel that you are a terrifying power and coercion?" Very simply, at this moment back to Isyoi, he thought that what Luo Hao exuded was a special skill, not a simple coercion. After all, in terms of common sense, how could a normal human being only have aura and murderous aura? And they have already achieved such a terrifying oppressive force. Moreover, 360 back to the 16th night, he is unwilling to believe that at this moment, the man in front of him is actually so terrifying. However, listening to the words of Ivy League in front of him, Luo Hao at this time, he just said it very indifferently. "What did you do? This is just my simple coercion. Right now, you haven't even exerted half of the power in your body." Then naturally there is no way to defy my power. So are you sure you still stick to your ideas now? Every sentence of Luo Hao's words emphasized the retrograde Isyoi at this moment, and he simply couldn't use his full power, didn't even play half of it. For him, that powerful talent and body are like a waste. And Luo Hao, what he hopes is to let that reverse back to Isyoi and use all his strength to fight with him. Instead of the current situation, not even half of the power was exerted. It's just that if you want reverse to return to Isyoi and bring out all of your strength, I'm afraid it will take some time to exercise. Do not. Not just a period of time, I am afraid it will take quite a long time to let him familiarize himself with the power in his body. And listening to the words of Lord Luo Hao, standing behind Luo Hao's family members belonged to him. At this time they also immediately showed a very surprised expression. What none of them thought was going back to Isyoi just now, even though it had already shown quite terrifying power. But it is still not his full strength. What terrifying strength does this man possess? And what Lord Luo Hao said just now, he actually wanted to exercise this guy so that he could better familiarize himself with the power in his body. Sure enough, Lord Luo Hao, he is a man who is very keen on fighting. That guy is too incredible. Even though he already possesses such a powerful power, he still hasn't shown half of it. I can't imagine what level of power has reached. Maybe he can really bring a very exciting battle to Lord Luo Hao just like his brother. I saw Riaz at this time, she said so to the guy called Reverse Isyoi. In this Riaz, she was also very surprised and amazed, and back to Isyoi's perspective. At this time, he also continued to grit his teeth and said a little bit hideously, "Damn it, I didn't even use half my strength. What the hell are you kidding? I have always been me." Because he is also very clear, perhaps it is really the same as what the man in front of him said. Luo Hao, with a rather serious expression, spoke to the retrospective Isyoi in front of him. At this moment, he simply did not want to believe such a fact. "You guy, is there really a way to make me stronger?" It's just that although his mouth is still so stubborn, his heart has begun to change a little. I don't want to admit that I can't use all my strength and waste my terrifying talent. And listening to the stubborn words of Reverse Isyoi, Luo Hao at this time also nodded and said, "If you want to experience more fun and combat in 2-6, just listen to what I have to say, and I will bring you to a new and higher level. Do you think this situation is your best effort? Today's first update asked for follow-up support. At this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he also showed a somewhat complicated expression. Right now, there is simply no way for me to use my full power. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running, and look at the expression of the man in front of him, look at his serious expression and listen to his words. Stop kidding, you look down on yourself or I look down on you. Then he spoke, how could your limit be only this level of power? At this moment Izuku Isyoi, he is somewhat unwilling to admit it, and listening to the reverse, Isyoi asked such a question. Immediately at this time Luo Hao, he also showed a shallow smile. Then he raised his right hand and said indifferently, "Do you think I'd say something like that if I wasn't sure I could do it? And after the battle just now, you still don't know. My power is far greater than you at this moment. If you want to become stronger, you have to accept my training. Only with my help can you become stronger." Luo Hao at this time, in fact, he was deceiving the retrograde Isyoi in front of him. Even without his own help and training, this guy can still become stronger in future battles. Not at all what Luo Hao said. After all, the most important thing in this world of Box 1 court is fighting, and there are terrifying and powerful enemies. So in this world, as long as Isyoi continues to fight non-stop, he will definitely be able to keep getting stronger. It's just that with the help of Luo Hao, this speed can be accelerated countless times. And listening to Luo Hao's words, at this time of Isyoi, he gritted his teeth and continued to speak. "Then can you tell me how strong I can be?" Obviously, at this moment in reverse Isyoi, he is more concerned about how powerful he can become. And he didn't even wait for Luo Hao to answer his question. At this time, he continued to speak. "Can I continue to enjoy the world as I become stronger? You answer me this question." However, as soon as the words of the reverse back to Isyoi fell, he immediately looked at Luo Hao in front of him with a more serious expression. For him, he only pays attention to these 2 points, how powerful he can become, and how much fun the world can bring him. And listening to the question of returning to Isyoi at this time Luo Hao, he just said with a smile, "How powerful you have become, you may have to ask yourself that question to know. But what I can tell you is that your future will be stronger than you ever imagined, even more powerful than you can comprehend. Can this and this world still bring you pleasure? Why didn't you have fun when you fought me just now?" As Luo Hao's voice just fell, he continued to show a shallow smile at this time when he returned to Izyoi. The mutual sympathy between the strong, perhaps that is the case. Luo Hao at this time quite appreciates the man named Reverse Izyoi and even wants to train him to become his rival. After all, in this world of Hakoba, although there are many strong people, the ones who can be regarded as their own opponents. Obviously these two guys were fighting fiercely just now, but now they are so friendly. Sure enough, these men are so strange. With your words, I am enough. Why did they suddenly start talking again? They seem to be very friendly and they burst out laughing. It seems that coming to this world is indeed a very good choice, and I am really lucky to meet a guy like you. What happened to those two men? Since those two guys have stopped fighting, I should probably go out. I saw Jiayuan flying bird at this time. She couldn't help but complain. Today's second update complete. But looking at the reversal Izyoi who suddenly burst out laughing, Yudo, Asuka and Kasugebyo standing behind him, they just showed a somewhat speechless expression. Obviously, at this very moment, he felt that it was his luck to meet a man like Luo Hao. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Obviously, at this moment, Ju Yuan Fei Nio was very puzzled by the dialogue between Ishiu Yi and Luo Hao. I saw that at this time, Izyoi continued and said with a big laugh. Obviously, Luo Hao's answer made him very satisfied. After listening to Luo Hao's words, he continued to show a shallow smile at this time of the Izyoi. Reverse Izyoi is a very suitable candidate. Ha ha ha. In looking at Luo Hao who stopped fighting and the black rabbit hiding in the grass in the dark, she also showed a slight smile and said, Black Rabbit saw Luo Hao and Reverse Izyoi, two extremely terrifying men, after the battle was over. At this moment, the Black Rabbit finally had the idea of going out from this hidden place. After all, the power generated by the battle of the two men just now was too terrifying. And the Black Rabbit, although she also has the same powerful power. But if he didn't use gifts and artifacts, he would be powerless to face these two men. Moreover, it would be more appropriate to wait for them to end the battle than to stop the battle between these two men. And just as planned, at this moment Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi, the two of them finally ended their battle. But just when Black Rabbit was about to take the initiative to stand up. Luo Hao, who had just ended the conversation with Nihui Izyoi, also suddenly spoke at this time. Okay, the rabbit hiding in the grass, don't hide, you should come out as soon as possible. Your crude concealment methods are of no use to us at all. Obviously, Luo Hao had already noticed a rabbit hidden in the corner after he came into this world. It's just that he didn't say it. After all, right after he came to this world, his attention was attracted by the man named Reverse Izyoi. Strong opponents and fierce battles are what Luo Hao needs. Hearing Luo Hao's words, he also continued to show a shallow smile at this time. It turns out that you have already discovered the guy in the corner. Well, but that's normal too. After all, you are the man who defeated me. If there is no way to discover even the concealment of this method, it is indeed a bit unreasonable. Obviously, at this moment, he had already discovered the reverse of the 16th night, and the black one who was hiding in the dark was free. It's just that at this moment in this forest, the only people who can find the black rabbit are Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi. Others, Kuoh Asuka, Kasugebyo and Luo Hao's family members, they couldn't find the black soil hidden in the corner. Luo Hao's family members, because of their different combat power systems, feel quite ignorant of the energy and aura of the people here. So there was no way to find the black rabbit hiding in the corner. As for Kuoh Asuka and Kasugebyo, she and the others were just really lacking in ability, so they couldn't find the black rabbit who was hiding. After all, the two of them were only young girls in their original world, and they had not experienced any real battle or any training. Of course, after coming to this world, in addition to the power of grace that he possesses, his abilities in other aspects appear to be somewhat insufficient. And at this moment, the black rabbit hiding in the dark corner, when she heard the words of Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi, he was also shocked immediately. It turned out that his own hiding was discovered early by the two men in front of him. Out of desperation, at this time the black rabbit, she also slowly walked out of the corner. I saw that she was hanging her two long rabbits at this time, said a little dejectedly. It turns out that the two of you have already discovered that I exist. Deliver. She sighed deeply. There is no way for him not to avoid the sight of these two men, which is the place where Black Rabbit feels pity, and looked at the black rabbit who came out of the grass. At this time, Luo Hao's family members immediately showed a surprised expression. Yeah, was this guy always hiding in the dark? We had absolutely no way of discovering its existence. Sure enough, just like what Luo Hao said, this world should be full of strong people. Seeing Ria's at this time, she was so surprised. As for the other family members, they were also quite shocked by the appearance of the black rabbit. Just looking at Lord Luo Hao's calm expression, at this moment, they didn't enter the state of alert. It's just that I have never seen such a special human existence as a blackhead. At this time, Kayuan Asuka and Kasugabe Yo, they also immediately showed a surprised expression. Yeah, that girl, there are only 2 long rabbits on her head. And looking at the appearance of the black rabbit at this time, Isyoi, he also nodded and said, this should be the guy who sent us to this world. Although it looks weak, I can feel that this guy is definitely not simple. Obviously, although at this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he thought that the black rabbit looked like an ordinary girl with bunny buds. It's just that he is also very clear that in such a seemingly ordinary girl, there is a very powerful power hidden in her body. But it's true just as Isyoi thought. As a servant of the creator in the world of Hakoniwa, as the black rabbit of the Hakoba nobleman, she naturally possesses countless artifacts and terrifying strengths. It's just that now she can't use this power as she wants. 363 That's why he needs to send these problem children from Otherworld. And listening to the words of Ivy League, Luo Hao at this time also smiled and nodded. Humph, although you are a guy who only uses his power by instinct, but in terms of eyesight it's really good. That rabbit does have great power. It's just that if you want to fight him, you should give up the idea first. Although you think you don't have any strength, you just say it directly and you don't show it directly, but Luo Hao has quickly understood his thoughts. As Luo Hao's voice just fell, he immediately returned to Isyoi at this time, and he also showed a somewhat regretful and angry expression. He didn't think that Luo Hao had already guessed it before he even opened his mind. Sorry, everyone. In fact, I sent you to this world. But I believe that you all already know a little about yourself, and you are by no means ordinary people. I saw the black rabbit at this time. She said this directly to the people in front of her. Her words are also very direct. There is no shred of cover-up. Indeed, just like what she said, all the existences in this world who were summoned by him are human beings with some special abilities. And listening to the black rabbit's words, the 3 of them also immediately showed a complicated expression at this time. Indeed, just as the rabbit said, the 3 of them had been aware of their abilities that were different from ordinary people from the very beginning. But what is the relationship between these abilities and the fact that they were sent to this world? At this moment, they are curious about this question. Looking at the people in front of them, they were not angry because they invited them and sent them to this world. At this time, the black rabbit, she also showed a shallow smile and continued to explain this. Your abilities come from all kinds of special things from gods and Buddhas or elves, demons and devils. And you can also unleash your abilities in this world, because here you can play special games. And the rewards obtained are also very rich, which can be abilities or wealth or even anything you want can be obtained in the game. Of course, the premise is that you can win the game. And the world you live in now is a world where you can play this game to your heart's content. In order to deceive Luo Hao and reverse Isyoi and others to join in. At this time, Black Rabbit did her best to make this Xianting's world extremely interesting. It's just that when High Rabbit's voice just fell, at this time Ju Yuan Fei Nio, she immediately put on a disbelieving expression. Then he said it with a complicated expression. Yeah, it's really suspicious. It's so charming to say it here. I always feel that you are not a good person. And listening to Jiayu and Asuka's words, Kasugabe Yo also nodded silently at this time. As for Luo Hao's family members, of course there is not much to say at this time. For them, they just need to follow behind Lord Luo Hao and wait for his decision. It's just that they are a little concerned about the words of the Black Rabbit. That rabbit's words are indeed a little suspicious. And listening to everyone's distrustful words, the Black Rabbit at this time, she also immediately showed a fearful and worried expression. What he was afraid of were Luo Hao and Reverse Isyoi, two men who possessed the terrifying power to penetrate mountains and rivers, and what she worries about. It is these people who cannot join their own community and help themselves save the community. If this is the case, then this effort made by myself seems to be useless. So when she heard everyone say that she was a suspicious person, at this time, Black Rabbit immediately felt extremely worried. I saw that at this time she quickly added her hands with her hands said, No, I'm not some suspicious character. I am the one who brought you into this interesting world. If you don't believe my words, we can start a game now. While talking about the Black Rabbit, she still showed a somewhat embarrassed smile at this time. As the voice of the Black Rabbit just fell, at this time Kayuan Asuka and Kasugabu Yao, the two of them nodded slightly and said, A game? Although this guy is suspicious, if he can judge it just by playing a game, that would not be bad. Obviously, his Yudo Asuka and Kasuge Byo at this time, the two of them agreed with Black Rabbit's opinion. After all, no matter what they say now, they have already come to this world named Xiangting. Although the guy in front of him is a little suspicious, no matter what, she brought Jiayun Asuka and others into this world. If you trust her a little bit, there is no problem. Well, that's fine, then let's reluctantly trust you once. Seeing all the birds in the distant past, she pretended to be quite reluctant and said to the Black Rabbit in front of her. And hearing that the other party finally believed her own words, at this time the Black Rabbit, she also breathed a long sigh of relief. The incomparably strong sense of oppression and crisis in my heart finally relaxed a lot. When faced with these problem children, the pressure felt by Black Rabbit is unprecedentedly strong. How to say? Black Rabbit, he was summoning a group of powers far beyond what she needed and what he expected from the problem children. At the same time, at this time of the reverse Izyoi, he also opened his mouth to speak. Humph. Since it's a game, what kind of game do you want us to play? What kind of bets are you going to put up? I don't want to join your games if it's too boring. Obviously, at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, he seemed to be more concerned about the stakes in this game. On the other side stood the family members behind Luo Hao. At this time they also spoke. Although he had already anticipated what kind of bet Black Rabbit would raise, but even so he still chose to issue such a question. Ask for flowers. It's very simple, it's just the Black Rabbit at the moment, she doesn't seem to think that she will lose this game. What she doesn't know is that Luo Hao at this moment is also very aware of the thoughts in the Black Rabbit's heart. Obviously, as their family members, they don't have too much thought at all. All they want to do is just to be with whom they are in the identity of Lord Luo Hao. Well, since it is one's own family, such a situation, the furnace number is also early, it is already expected. Luo Hao, who is a traveler, has so many advantages. Lord Luo Hao will just listen to your opinions here. If it's a bet, as long as you can win this game, I can agree to one of your requests. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Referring to Luo Hao at this time, he smiled and said to the Black Rabbit in front of him. Only, even in his heart, he had already thought about it at this time. After winning this game, what kind of request was promised next? And listening to Luo Hao's words, the Black Rabbit at this time, he also said with a confident smile immediately. And listening to High Rabbit's words, he had to go back to Izyoi at this time, and he immediately showed a shallow smile and said, well, listening to you, you seem to be very confident in your own strength. Interesting. In that case, let's play with you a little bit and see who of us can win this game. And I hope you don't forget your bet just now. Like High Rabbit, at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he was very confident in himself. After all, in the original Earth's retrograde Izyoi, he had never lost once. Whether 367 is sports, learning, or games, it is in any aspect, so it is the same even when it comes to this world. However, in the battle just now, Luo Hao was the only one who lost. And listening to the words of Izyoi, the Black Rabbit at this time also showed a worried expression and said, although I can promise you one thing, there are some things that I can't promise you. While speaking, the Black Rabbit at this time suddenly raised his right hand and protected it in front of him, as if to imply something about returning to Izyoi. But even so, the Black Rabbit at this time is also full of confidence in herself. After all, he has experienced countless years in the world of this small garden, and he must have a very deep understanding of the game and the gameplay. These are just the little brats who have just come to this world, although their abilities are very powerful. But the Black Rabbit believes that it is only by virtue of their current experience and the blessings that have not been fully discovered. I'm afraid they can't let them overcome themselves. Of course, these are just the current Black Rabbit's own thoughts. Just listening to Black Rabbit's words, Kuoh Asuka and Kasuge Byo at this time. They also showed a somewhat contemptuous look at the same time and looked at reverse Izyoi next to them. It also seemed to imply something to him. And feel the eyes of Yudo Asuka and Kasuge Byo. At this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he also shrugged his shoulders and said with a helpless expression, don't look at me like that. I never said that I would make such a request. For me, I just want to have a fun game, that's all. And just when everyone just finished the conversation, Luo Hao at this time, he also opened his mouth to speak. Since the problems are over, we can also start the game. Obviously, Luo Hao at this moment, he has no intention to continue listening to these guys chatter. Rather than talking about these boring questions, it is better to start the game directly and then decide the winner, which will be more direct and quicker. After all, in this forest, they have already wasted too much time. In this world of Little Garden, every game is actually crucial. Okay, I got it. Let's start the game now. landed on the ground, there was a rumbling sound. I was about to see such a scene, and the family members who were standing behind Luo Hao immediately showed a somewhat surprised expression. Then a very miraculous thing happened. In front of Black Rabbit, an incomparably huge table suddenly appeared from the sky. And with the huge table in the air falling on the ground, in the right hand of Black Rabbit, a deck of cards has already appeared. This guy looks a little silly, but if he didn't expect his abilities, he was indeed a bit powerful. And I can feel it, this guy has been hiding his abilities. They didn't expect that this seemingly ordinary rabbit could do such a powerful thing. It's a surprising fact. Then we can start the game now. You guys need to get ready. Obviously, at this time Riaz, she is not the kind of dull person. Even at this time Riaz, she couldn't help but say. Although the other party did not show it, he could already vaguely feel the terrifying power possessed by the 2-6 Black Rabbit. Listening to the words of the Black Free Reminder, at this time, they just continued to show an expression of disapproval. For these problem children, just this level of games and conditions has no way to have any influence on them. Maybe they've been through more than that. So now the reminder of Black Rabbit is not enough to have any effect at all. When looking at the words that he cared about and reminded, the other party ignored it at all. At this time, the Black Rabbit, she also smiled a little embarrassedly. At this moment, the Black Rabbit, she regretted that she had summoned such a group of powerful problem children. Looking at the deck of playing cards that appeared in the hands of High Free and the huge table of one, at this time Ju Yuan Fei Nio, she also asked with some doubts. So our game is a poker game, Dao Diju but blackjack. For Jiayu and Flying Bird, these games are the first thing that comes to mind when seeing poker. And listening to Jiu Yuan Asuka's words, the Kasuge Byo who was standing beside him, she just muttered a little. Why can't it be a draw card? Obviously, compared to Jiayu and Asuka, Kasuge Byo at this time, she wants to show simplicity and cuteness. Just listening to Kasuge Byo's words beside her, at this time Kaiju and Asuka, she only showed a somewhat speechless and embarrassed expression. And at this moment he was also quite interested in the reversal of Izuyoi. Yeah, poker. In my world I have never lost in this regard. Dare to use this game to challenge me, I should say that your courage is really big. I saw that at this time of the reverse return Izuyoi, he showed an absolutely confident smile and said to the black man in front of him, I'm afraid this game has not even started yet, and Izuyoi is already giving the opponent a very powerful mental oppression. And as the voice of reverse Izuyoi just fell, Luo Hao at this time, he also spoke immediately. Humph, you never said that poker is the same as you, and neither did I, so let's see who we are going to win in this game, how about that? I saw Luo Hao at this time, he showed a very confident smile towards the retrograde Izuyoi in front of him. With the blessing of magic power, how could Luo Hao lose to others on poker? Whether it is luck, strength, or other special abilities, he has everything. There is no chance of losing at all. And listening to Luo Hao's words at this time of the retrograde 16 nights, he immediately showed a rather interested expression and said, Oh, it's interesting, it really seems to be more than just fighting. In other respects, we also sympathize with each other. I saw that at this time of the retrograde Izuyoi, he clenched his teeth lightly, showing a high-strength expression. Obviously, at this moment he felt extremely excited for Luo Hao, the opponent, no matter what aspect it was. After all, in the world before Izuyoi, there were not many people who could become opponents with him. No, it should not be said that there are not many people at all. Except for the canary, there is no one in this world who can become the opponent of reverse Izuyoi until he came to this world of Hakoniwa. He finally met a suitable opponent, even if the opponent's strength is above his own. He still felt the same way. Only 367 has been the owner of this game. At this time, the Black Rabbit, after she heard the dialogue between the two terrifying guys, Izuyoi and Luo Hao, immediately she also showed a rather worried expression. If it were just the other two little girls, she wouldn't be so worried, but she was facing such terrifying men as Rei Hui, Izuyoi, and Luo Hao. Even the prepared Black Rabbit still felt extremely fearful and worried. Even the Black Rabbit at this time, she still secretly said in her heart, What should I do? I forgot that these two terrifying guys may not only be very powerful in combat. This is bad. If I do lose to them in a while, what should I do? At this moment, the Black Free, he is starting to be afraid. And while everyone is still communicating, is it fighting the landlord 2100 or other games? At this time, the Black Rabbit, she also immediately added. Actually, what we are playing this time is not those complicated games, but the simplest card drawing game. As long as you can draw a character row from these 52 cards, you will be considered a winner. Provided, of course, that you all draw character cards at the same time. Only then will you be considered a victory. Obviously, it is because of such harsh conditions that the Black Rabbit at this time, she has such confidence. It's just that in the face of Luo Hao and Nihui Shirawai, two men who are extremely terrifying in every way, she has some regrets about this decision at this time, because she had already guessed it. The opponent will definitely not really play the game completely according to the rules, and these two guys can definitely use special means to avoid their own rules to play the game. Now, it may be that the Black Rabbit has fallen into a disadvantage. As soon as High Rabbit's voice fell, the family members who stood behind Luo Hao frowned slightly. "I saw Ria's at this time," she said. In other words, all four people participating in the competition have to draw character cards. In terms of probability, this game is an absolute disadvantage for Lord Luo Hao. It's just that the game won't really follow the rules. Ria's is also very smart since this world is built on games, so all they need to do is try to win without fouling. That is to say, by any means they have the possibility of taking it. Therefore, in this game of simply drawing cards, if you just use probability to judge, I am afraid it will have no effect. And just as High Rabbit's voice fell, at this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he immediately showed a very displeased expression. "Oh, is it just a simple drawing game? If we don't use any special means, our side is embedded in an absolute disadvantage. And if you don't use other more special means, I'm afraid this is just a simple probability game without any technical content at all. You're a very smart bunny." Obviously, it can be heard from reverse Izyoi's words. At this moment, I don't intend to play the game completely and abide by the rules of the game. I listened to Izyoi's words, Luo Hao at this time. He also pretended to feel pity and said, "HMPH, this is just a simple probability game. It seems that we don't have a chance to play." Although Luo Hao guessed early on that the game would be played in this way, but even so, he still pretended to feel very pity. But in fact, in his heart, he was also looking forward to a game of wisdom with that reverse Isyoi. After all, in terms of combat power, Luo Hao at this moment has an absolute advantage. In the current retrograde Isyoi, he didn't even use half of his instincts. What about fighting? But in the game of intelligence, I am afraid this is not the case. He will not lose to Luo Hao at this moment. It's just that just when Luo Hao and Nihui Shirawai's voices fell, High Rabbit at this time also said quickly, "Sorry, everyone. In this world of Hakoba, there are gods watching over them. This is the case with any game, so if you want to win the game, you must abide by the rules." As soon as the Black Rabbit's voice fell, she once again stretched out her slender hand and snapped her fingers. In an instant, Isyoi, Luo Hao, and the others had already established a gram, and something like a document appeared as if it were a contract condition. And this is the contract they must sign Hao Zhao's to play in the same world. These are important documents to ensure that the game can be played within certain rules and to confirm the bet. Only Luo Hao at this time. After listening to Black Rabbit's words, he still did not intend to completely abide by the rules of the game. Even, he did not hide his idea of cheating at all. After all, in this world of Hakoniwa, as long as cheating is not judged by the rules, it is not considered a foul. Humph, confronting the rules of the god of Hakoniwa, it's really fun. Looking at the document in his hand, he also smiled and nodded at this time of Isyoi. Cough cough, is there such a thing? It seems to be really made. While talking about the reversal of Isyoi at this time, he also handed the document about the game bet in his hand to Jiayu and Asuka and others for them to watch. As for Luo Hao's words, going back to Isyoi, he thinks that the other party may not need to confirm these documents at all. After all, for a powerhouse of that level, these probably wouldn't have much binding force at all. They will never lose the game. Back to Isyoi and Luo Hao, they both thought so. As for Asuka Kyudo and Kasuke Byo, they were also after receiving the document in the hands of Isyoi. They began to look at 370 carefully and nodded. Obviously, they don't have much opinion on this document. As for Luo Hao, he was looking forward to the beginning of the game. After all, in the previous Demon High School world, he was already extremely obsessed with the ranking game. In this world of Hakoniwa, a world that focuses on games, it is even more so. HMPH, since it has been confirmed that there is no problem, let's hurry up and play the game. After defeating this rabbit, I also want to play more games and gain more abilities in this Hakoniwa world. At this moment, Luo Hao, he seems to have a winning attitude. Black Rabbit Abd was not a decent opponent in front of him. Although Luo Hao looks very arrogant and confident, however, just as he said, the Black Rabbit was not really an opponent in front of him. And standing behind Luo Hao, belonging to his dependents, they were also at this moment, showing a look of anticipation. They were looking forward to how Lord Luo Hao would perform in this game. After all, there are too many battle scenes now, and the sudden appearance of this kind of poker made them quite interested. I don't know Lord Luo Hao, how powerful is his poker or other ability decisions. At this moment, Riaz is looking forward to Luo Hao's performance and listening to the words of Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi. At this time, Kuoh Asuka and Kasuge Byo, the two of them also immediately signed the document for the game. All of them are very confident and said to the Black Rabbit in front of them, "Okay, we have already read the files here and the game can start." At that time, Asuka and Kasuke Byo's words just fell, and they also showed a very confident smile at the same time. Just looking at their incomparably confident smiles, it can be seen that they are not just planning to follow the probability of learning to start this game. The Black Rabbits are confident that they will not win, and they are also confident that they can defeat the Black Rabbits. And if Black Rabbit is so good at gaming, he might not need the help of Kaiyuan Asuka and Reverse Izyoi at all. In terms of probability only, their odds are slim. Hearing the words of Ju Yuan Fei Nio and Reverse Izyoi in front of her, at this time of High Mayan, she immediately said with some embarrassment, resisting a card on the table, waiting for the players to draw. As soon as the Black Rabbit's voice fell, she hurriedly spread out the playing cards in her hand on the table. This time, it may be Black Rabbit's miscalculation, he underestimated the ability of these problem children he summoned. Only when the four of them draw character cards at the same time can they be considered a victory. But back to Izyoi and others, all they need to do is to draw character cards from these 52 cards. Looking back at Izyoi's right hand. At this time, the Black Rabbit, she also said with a smile, "So you're going to choose this card, aren't you? After you choose, you can't go back." Obviously, even as the owner of this game, the Black Rabbit at this time, although she did not know the specific arrangement of the 52 cards. Therefore, she now also hopes that these problem children do not use cheating to draw these playing cards. But her hopes may be in vain. Immediately after returning to Izyoi were Kuoh Asuka and Kasuge Byo, both of them also placed their right hands on one of the playing cards on the table at the same time. "Then I'll choose this one. I am this one." I saw Kuoh Asuka and Kasuge Byo at this time, and the two of them spoke at the same time. In the corners of their mouths there was a slight smile at the same time, full of confidence. As if it was a card of his own choosing, it was absolutely foolproof. At this moment, the family members who are standing behind Luo Hao are also looking forward to which card Lord Luo Hao will choose. Lord Luo Hao, he hasn't made a choice yet, but this kind of simple game definitely doesn't put much pressure on him. Obviously, at this moment, Riaz is also full of confidence in Luo Hao. Do not. It should not be said that it is full of confidence. It should be said that there is not much worry at all. This kind of game with such simple rules is not too difficult for Master Luo Hao. Under the incomparably expectant gaze of everyone, Luo Hao at this time also gently placed his right hand on a card on the table. Then he said very calmly, "Whatever, since that's the case, I'll choose this one." Obviously, everyone else chose their own cards after their own abilities or thinking, but Luo Hao just closed his eyes and chose a card at random. He didn't deliberately think or choose these cards at all. He seemed to have absolute confidence in his luck. Looking at the card Luo Hao had chosen at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he really raised his eyebrows. Then he smiled and said to Luo Hao next to him, "Hey, this card doesn't seem to be a character card." Obviously, at this moment, the retrograde 16 Knights can be seen at a glance, and the card selected by Luo Hao is not a character card, although these playing cards are shown on the back. But even so, going back to Izyoi, he still easily determined the true identity of this card. And as the voice of Izyoi had just fallen, Kaiyuan Asuka and Kasugabu Yao at this time, both of them also set their eyes on Luo Hao at the same time. "Indeed, this card is not a character card. I advise you to give up the choice of this card. This game is about our victory." Would love to chat about Luo Hao's choice. The other two girls also expressed some concern and dissatisfaction. Zero asked for flowers. After all, this game requires all four of them to choose, and the characters' cards will be able to win. And as long as one of the choices is wrong, they will be judged as failure. Today's last update, ask for a wave of follow-up support. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Obviously, after memorizing the order of all the cards back to Izyoi, he didn't believe what happened in front of him. As soon as Luo Hao's voice fell, he gently turned over the card of his choice. To everyone's surprise, this card turned out to be a character card. As Luo Hao's card was turned over, immediately at this time, everyone showed an extremely shocked expression. Zero. I saw that at this time he was extremely surprised. This is impossible. I have already memorized all the cards that have been added to 52 cards just now. Naturally, for the other two, he was unwilling to lose this game. Manipulating the law of causality doesn't seem to be too difficult. Isn't this kind of thing easy to do? Among them, the one who was most shocked was Reverse Isyoi. Humph, the card I choose is what I want it to be. The card you just selected is definitely not a character's card. It's just that Luo Hao, who was listening to the words of the two girls at this time, just closed his eyes and said indifferently. But at this time Luo Hao, he just said very indifferently. It's a King of Spades card. Listening to Luo Hao's words, he also looked at the poker card he turned over, the Black Free at this time. She also immediately showed a shocked expression that could no longer be shocked. Seeing her at this time, she immediately couldn't help shouting loudly. This is impossible. Why is this man able to manipulate cards at will? Even manipulating the law of causality, such a thing is simply impossible. At this moment, the Black Rabbit, she couldn't believe that this human being in front of her was actually able to control the law of causality in her own hands. She had never seen Black Rabbit from 370s, and she never thought that someone could even manipulate the law of causality wantonly. Do not. This is no longer the category of human beings, it has completely reached the category of gods. The human being in front of him, he can really understand it in terms of human beings. Even though he had seen the retrograde 16 nights with strong winds and waves, when he heard Luo Hao say the three words the law of cause and effect, he also showed a very shocked expression. The strength of Reverse Isyoi is only physical strength. After all, the third perpetual motion machine in his body is still a power on the physical level after all. But at this moment, the power of causality used by Luo Hao is not limited to physics. Even this has touched the level of magic and even subverting the universe. Going back to Isyoi, he never imagined that someone could really control the power of the law of causality. In this world, even if you tell Reverse Isyoi someone has developed a time machine, going back to Isyoi, he wouldn't feel any surprise. But Luo Hao is using the power of manipulating the law of causality, which is beyond the imagination of Isyoi. And listening to Luo Hao's words also at this time belonged to Luo Hao's family members. They just showed an expression like that, although it is particularly outrageous to say that things like causality are taken away. But for them who have been following Lord Luo Hao for a very long time, they are not surprised by such a shocking thing. Although I have been with Lord Luo Hao for a long time, the ability to manipulate the law of cause and effect is the first time I have seen Lord Luo Hao use it. Unexpectedly, even in the face of a strong man like my brother, Lord Luo Hao has never used such power. But in this small deck of cards, Lord Luo Hao, he used the power that he had never used before. Seeing Rias at this time, she said with such a sigh. As for Yudo Asuka and Kasugabe Yo on the other side, they were the same, showing an extremely shocking expression. As if in their eyes, Luo Hao doesn't belong to human beings at all. In their eyes, Luo Hao is not a human being. It belongs to a monster, devil, demon, god in general. What the hell is going on with this man? Can he really be considered a human? I just saw that his combat power is strong enough, but I didn't expect that he can control things like the law of causality. Listening to Jiu Yuan Asuka's words, at this time Kasugabe Yo, she also said with some doubts, "Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. After all, the truth is hard evidence. It's just that he was the Black Rabbit at this time and she also reacted immediately. In this game, if you use special abilities, it should be considered cheating. As long as it can be confirmed that Luo Hao cheated this time, he will be able to win this game. But when he turned it over, it was already a poker that had become a character card. But I did see it just now, the card he chose was not a character card. Today's first update complete. This guy, he's not lying, is he? I saw the Black Rabbit at this time, he was in a hurry, reminding the key points in front of him. Since Luo Hao used the power of causality to reverse the truth of card 2-6, then he should have violated the rules. With their participation, the Black Rabbit is already a community on the verge of dissolution, and will definitely be able to radiate light again. At this moment, Black Rabbit, she seems to have caught a life-saving straw. And as long as he wins this game, she will be able to get 4 troubled children with incomparable terrifying power to join her. Now is not the time to discuss this stuff. Even Kasugabe Yo, she couldn't believe it. No, that's not right, but the fact was in front of his eyes and he couldn't say anything else. Just listening to High Rabbit's words, Luo Hao at this time just said it with a smile. Yeah. Do you think the power to reverse the law of causality is cheating? You can't talk nonsense, you rabbit. Use your long rabbit to learn the rules of this world. Does my causal law really violate the rules? Luo Hao at this moment, he doesn't think his ability is against the rules. And even if he violates the rules, he can use his powerful power to manipulate the law of cause and effect to turn the rules into his own favor. His power is so powerful, even the gods in the little garden, he can have a fighting force. And listening to Luo Hao's words, the black rabbit at this time was at a loss for words. Immediately. As Luo Hao said, she pricked up her long ears to learn the rules of the game in Little Garden. Then the time and atmosphere were silent for a while. In the end, the black rabbit at this time, she lowered her head again and said very dejectedly, "Your use of power is indeed not against the rules. But this is too much. It is a matter of manipulating the law of causality. Doesn't that mean I had no hope of winning this game from the start?" Seeing the black rabbit at this time, she was extremely angry and said to Luo Hao in front of her. For her own failure, she felt even dissatisfied. After all, the other party has made it clear that they will use cheating rules to defeat themselves. And listening to Hai Tu's angry words, Luo Hao, who was also at this time, just said with a smile, "Hey, did I commit a foul? I didn't commit a foul. Didn't you just judge that my actions were not foul? In this world of Hakoniwa, as long as I don't break the rules on the surface, I'm not a foul. You have lived in this world for so long, haven't you discovered this iron rule?" I saw Zhang Luo Hao at this time, his tone was full of sarcasm. It seems that the black rabbit in front of the mocking eyes in this world has not even figured out the basic gameplay. And listening to this man named Luo Hao, listening to his reprimanding words. At this time, the black rabbit, she also continued to lower her head, showing a very dejected expression. "Yes, indeed. As you said, I really have no way to understand the rules of this game. That's why I let my community go from bad to worse." Luo Hao's words also seemed to hit High Rabbit's pain point, making her feel extremely sad. And looking at the sad reaction of the black rabbit, at this time Kaiyuan Asuka and Kasuge Biao, they also glanced at Luo Hao slightly. They seemed to be even dissatisfied with Luo Hao's behavior and language, but they didn't say much after all. It was just like what Luo Hao said. If the basic gameplay of this game is not clear, the black rabbit is too naive. But back to the topic, since they have already won, then Black Rabbit has to fulfill her bet. Speaking of which, since we have already won this game, what do we need to do next? I saw Jiayu and Asuka at this time. She crossed her arms on her chest and asked such a question. Today's second update, please support a wave of follow-up subscriptions. But the words of Jiayu and Asuka and reverse Izyoi just fell. Even at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, he didn't say a word. At this time of the black rabbit, she hastily put one of her own hands to reject. "You will 16 pages of words. No, that kind of thing doesn't work. I want to be your king, your demon king. Now it looks like you're out of luck." However, these actions and words of Izyoi's reversal have achieved very significant results. Feel the malicious gaze of Izyoi. As he said that at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he continued to turn his malicious eyes to the black rabbit in front of him. "Humph. We don't have such boring conditions. All I need is to be the leader of your community. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. Cough, let's talk about this. I remember that the bet made by Black Rabbit was to promise any of our conditions. But this is just a deliberately pretended action to intimidate the Black Rabbit." At this time, Luo Hao finally made his own voice. He seemed to be implying -370 something. And the voice that accompanied the long-distance flying bird just fell. At this time, Izyoi also immediately showed a proud and somewhat malicious smile and said, "Following Luo Hao's words, I should be the black rabbit again." She showed a shocked and frightened expression. That's right. Why did the man in front of her know about the community? Isn't it the first time he has come to this world? Do not. Impossible. If he had ever been to this world, Black Rabbit would have known it. But this man didn't. He never came to this world at all. But he has the understanding and knowledge of this world, and also knows the community of Black Rabbit. Even what he wants to do is to become the leader of the Black Rabbit community. This kind of thing is really a little too incredible. And listening to Luo Hao's words, it is also at this time that Izyoi and Jiayu and Asuka are in reverse. Several of them only showed a slightly puzzled expression. Community? What is that? Why do we have absolutely no understanding and knowledge of this thing? Obviously, Izyoi and Asuka, who came to this world for the first time, their knowledge of the community is still equal to 0. Of course, at this time, they could not understand the conditions proposed by Luo Hao. It's just that Luo Hao doesn't need to answer this question at all. "I saw the black rabbit at this time," she said, and added immediately. "Generally speaking, if you play games in this world, you need to join the community. A strong community has more manpower, more resources, and can play more advanced games. And my community is on the verge of dissolution. Not even his own name. The reason I call you into this world is to hope that you can help my community and make it stronger again. Finally, the Black Rabbit at this time, she also revealed her true purpose. And with the Black Rabbit's voice just falling, at this time the reverse back to Isyoi and others. They also immediately showed such an expression. Although it was said that the practice of black exemption made them feel very uncomfortable. Because I have the feeling that I have become a tool person and I came to this world specially to help Black Rabbit save his dying community. But for the retrograde Isyoi who was already disappointed with Earth, it is a good thing to come to this world of Hakoba. As for Kuoh Asuka and Kasugebyo, the two of them also thought so, after all. In their original world, his existence was identified as an alien. I felt the fearful gaze of others. So even at this time, they felt a little dissatisfied with Black Rabbit's approach. But they still didn't say much, just showed a slightly unhappy expression. As for Luo Hao's family members after hearing Luo Hao's conditions, but only very satisfied nodded. Lord Luo Hao really belongs to a demon king. Wherever he goes, he will be the one who commands everyone and controls everyone. I saw Ria's at this time, she said with some pride. Indeed, Luo Hao's commanding ability is also very good. Even me who once led the Camelot Kingdom was full of admiration. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Today's third update asks for a wave of follow-up support. Moreover, what I want to do is to be the strongest and most evil demon king. Good Zhao Hao, I can't even play advanced games anymore. You can also leave my weak common ground and choose the light of a more advanced and powerful community. Although she says Saber, her leadership is only B. But why did you choose to be the leader of our weak community? Then she hurriedly asked Luo Hao in front of her. To the demon king of all things in the world, Luo Hao at this time he just said with a cold snort, listen to the Black Rabbit's words. Even as a King Saber, she has a very high evaluation of Luo Hao's leadership. The people who felt it were a little angry, and at this time the Black Rabbit she also showed a somewhat scared expression. And if you want. And just when Ria's voice just fell at this time Saber, she also immediately added the state person. It doesn't make any difference where you start. But why do you want to be the leader of the community? Our community obviously has not many people and not many resources. Listening to Haiji's dejected and unconfident words. At this time, Luo Hao just said with a cold snort. Humph, isn't it more challenging to slowly lead a weak team from weak to strong, the kind of non-challenging things that I can point to no interest at all? Quite simply, at this moment Luo Hao, he did not put the matter of the weak community of the Black Rabbit in his heart at all. No, rather it should be, it is precisely because he is weak that he is more interested. Use powerful weapons to defeat your opponent, that's all, but if it is to defeat a powerful opponent with a garbage weapon, it will be even more exciting. Things like this are more challenging. And listening to Luo Hao's words, he also nodded immediately and said at this time, haha. It's the same as what I thought. Indeed, if 373 is too weak, there is no value in challenging it. Lead a weak team to grow up slowly and dominate the world? Interesting. This is so much fun. Sure enough, I came to this world and got to know you, which is a very lucky thing. At this moment in retrospective Isyoi, he has a very high degree of praise for Luo Hao's words. After all, this guy not only defeated himself, he was far superior to himself in terms of strength and even possessed special power. Even his thoughts are very similar to himself. Listening to Luo Hao Dan's words, the papers at this time were also peeping at him and then showed a shallow smile. For Luo Hao's remarks, they seemed to feel that it was not unusual at all and even seemed to be expected. Luo Hao is still the only and strongest king in any world. Even when he came to this world of Hakoniwa where the powers were like clouds, he still did. As expected, it is Lord Luo Hao. I wonder how far he can lead us in this world. I saw Ria's at this time, she said so confidently and proudly. She believed that Lord Luo Hao would lead them with his mighty power, lead them to dominate the world called Hakoniwa, looking at the excited expressions of Luo Hao and Nihui Isyoi. At this time, Kayuan Asuka and Kasugebyo, they also looked at each other, then sighed, also showing a somewhat helpless expression. Men. As expected, they are all keen on fighting and sieging cities. Although they had some objections to Luo Hao's decision, they did not refute it. Obviously, she and the others agreed to Luo Hao's request in their hearts. After all, this man does have that kind of ability. The two of them are indeed able to lead this weak community, as Abk and Luo Hao said, and, if not, then when they came to this world, they lacked too much fun. And listening to Luo Hao's words, the Black Rabbit at this time also had a complicated expression and pondered for a while. Although Luo Hao didn't say it directly, he already felt that a fierce battle was about to take place. Well, this game is I lost to you. Today's fourth update, please support a wave of full subscriptions. And listening to Luo Hao's conversation with Nihui Shiru Yi, who continued to be the Black Rabbit at this time, she was also extremely dejected. Annoyed, he lowered his head. Just listening to High Rabbit's words, Luo Han at this time, she just shook her head indifferently and said, "But things like changing community leadership, let me take you back to the home base of our community. Humph, you took these two little girls and my family," then she said helplessly. She was reflecting on why she had summoned two such powerful problem children. As soon as the voice of Reverse Hui Izyoi fell, his two sturdy fists were already slammed together, made a huge noise, really looking forward to it. Oh, there are things, and what are they? According to the rules of the game and the stakes, I really should fulfill your request. And listening to Luo Hao's words, at this time of the retrograde 16 nights, he immediately showed a somewhat puzzled and somewhat expectant expression. Let's take them all to the world of Little Garden first. If I go back to Izyoi, I still have a few things to do. Although she was reluctant, Black Rabbit agreed to Luo Hao's request. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Obviously, at the moment Luo Hao, he still has some thoughts in his mind. Listening to the words of Izyoi and Luo Hao, the Black Rabbit at this time also hurriedly said on guard. You two won't, what are your bad plans? In this forest there are many gods, Buddhas, fairies, and other powerful enemies. If you two are messing around here, if you meet these little guys, or casually accepted other people's challenge games which may have serious consequences. Obviously, the Black Rabbit at this moment, she is worried about whether the two will cause some trouble. After all, these two guys are problem children. Just listening to High Rabbit's words, Luo Hao at this time just said very disapprovingly, "Humph, terrible consequences, that's what happens after some losses. I don't think there's a guy out there who can beat me, at least not here." I saw Luo Hao at this time, he was full of incomparable confidence in his own strength. However, as he said, in this world, I am afraid that no one can threaten him. And the guy who can threaten Luo Hao at this moment does not exist in this place. And when Luo Hao's voice just fell, at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he immediately said with a smile, "Night Roar, just as I thought. Since losing the game will have serious consequences, so we just don't lose, can we?" Just like Luo Hao's thoughts, at this moment in retrospective Izyoi, he absolutely believes that he will not lose. Although it was said that in the previous battle, he lost to Luo Hao in the reversal of Izyoi, but even that did not diminish his self-confidence. And in the battle just now, he didn't fully use his full strength. And listening to the words of Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi, the Black Rabbit at this time was once again at a loss for words. It's exactly what these two guys said. Even if you lose the game, there will be dire consequences. So if that's the case, as long as you don't lose, it's okay. And in this forest, although there are many gods and Buddhas, but if you want to fight against these two terrifying guys, there is still not much possibility. Because I can fight against these two guys, I won't be in this place. After all, those guys are all dragons who can't see the end. In the end, due to the helpless Black Rabbit, she could only take back what she just said. Then she said to the two people in front of her, In that case, fine. Then I'll take the long-distance birds and Luo Hao and your relatives back to my community first. But the two of you have to remember, don't accept other people's challenges at will and don't just lose a game." Although Black Rabbit was forced to agree to the demands of these two people, but even so, she still reminded the other party. After all, anything can happen unexpectedly. Quickly, ask for flowers. At this time, the Black Rabbit, she had already left the place with the family members of Jiu Yuan Fei Nio and Luo Hao. If Asuka was far away, she already wanted to go to the city to take a look at the forest right now, see what the world is like. After all, this is a whole new and uncertain world. Continuing to stay in that forest would be rather boring. They were originally unwilling to be separated from Lord Luo Hao. Well, that troublesome rabbit is no longer here. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Luo Hao, he also turned his face slightly, looking at the retrograde Izyoi beside him and said with a smile, "As Luo Hao's family, following Luo Hao's side is the right thing to do. After all, and just after everyone left the forest. However, they are not children anymore." However, Luo Hao still ordered them to go to the community where Black Rabbit was. As for Luo Hao's relatives, we can challenge the gods here well. After all, although Rias and others are not very willing. Today's fifth update complete. Since Lord Luo Hao said so, it can only be agreed. She is not a stinky man like Izyoi, who is only interested in having fun and fighting. Only Luo Hao and Rei Hui Izyoi were left. Listening to Luo Hao's words, he also showed an extremely excited expression at this time of the Ivy League night. Challenge the gods here, that's really fun, but it's no wonder that you want to put aside the black rabbit just now. It turns out that you want to challenge the gods here, but I don't know how powerful the gods here are. While talking about the reversal of Isyoi at this time, he also showed a very high battle expression. Obviously, he is also very curious about the powerful god Luo Hao said. 373, after all, just being a Luo Hao is already able to bring him such great fun in battle, not to mention the statement of this world. It's just what Isyoi didn't know. The god he was looking forward to may have disappointed him. Moreover, listening to the words of Isyoi reverse, Luo Han at this time also smiled lightly. Humph, what you encounter now will not be too powerful after all, we are in a relatively remote location. There won't be too many powerful things here, but with your current state, it's almost enough to challenge these. If you want to challenge a higher-level powerhouse, you also need to slowly control the power in your body. Obviously, at this moment Luo Hao, he didn't see this retrograde Isyoi beside him very much. After all, there is no way for him to control the power in his body very well now. Just relying on instinct to drive power is far from enough. Without experience, skills, and proficiency, it is completely insufficient to control the power of such a terrifying third perpetual motion machine. As soon as the accompanying Luo Hao's voice fell, he had already taken a step and walked slowly into the distance. At this moment, the opponent he wants to meet is the snake at the end of the world. And looking at Luo Hao's retreating back, at this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he also hurriedly stepped forward and chased after him. In fact, for what Luo Hao said just now, at this time, Isyoi is the reverse. He was also quite concerned, seeing that at this time, he quickly caught up with Luo Hao's footsteps, he said. In other words, why do I feel that you are so clear about my affairs, and why do you know that I can't use my full power yet? I always feel like you are a little weird. Obviously, at this moment in retrospect, he also noticed something strange about Luo Hao. And listening to the words of the reversed Isyoi next to her, Luo Hao at this time, she also continued to step forward, while responding to him in a perfunctory manner. I only know the general situation about your situation, however, from the fight just now it can already be clearly felt. There's no way you guy can use his full power, such a waste of talent. But in this small garden, as long as you fight enough, you will grow up quickly. It's more fun than being on that boring planet. Listening to Luo Hao's words, he also nodded and said, like the reverse of Isyoi at this time. And at the same time at this time, and listening to Ren's words, the black rabbit at this time also showed a somewhat embarrassed expression in the future. These girls hide their terrifying power. Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Today's first update complete. Although Ren himself doesn't have much fighting power, he can also feel it very clearly. I saw Ren at this time, he was quite looking forward to 2. 6 and said to the black rabbit in front of him. And as the current leader of the community, Jen Lazul, as he spoke, he also focused his attention on the girls behind High Free, just like you, the man who can beat me. Ah, you're right, but there are 2 very scary guys, they didn't come back here with me. Obviously, for Luo Hao at this moment, on the contrary, I have seen all kinds of strange and magical things in this world. Humph. That is indeed too boring on that planet. As long as I want to do things, there is no difficulty at all. He was also very concerned about reverse Isyoi. After all, this was the only man who had beaten him in battle. When he saw the black rabbit's return, he immediately stood up from the ground. Black Rabbit, did you succeed in bringing them all back? That's right, Black Rabbit is also very fast and brought the family members of Jiayuan Fei Nio and Luo Hao back to that community. Listening to High Rabbit's words, Ren at this time also immediately showed a somewhat puzzled expression. Did they leave because they didn't want to join our community? No, but this is normal after all, our community is too weak. Unattractive at all, is there any need for them to help us? Obviously, Ren, who has low self-esteem, thinks that Luo Hao and Nihui Isyoi, the 2 of them think their commonalities are too weak, so they didn't come. And listen to Jen's words. Before High Rabbit could open his mouth, Jiu Yuan Fei Nio and Luo Hao's family members also showed embarrassing smiles at this time. There is no way, they are also very clear, back to Isyoi and Luo Hao adults, the strange thinking of their 2-1 guys. And Black Rabbit might think that it has nothing to do with it, but Ria's and the others are very clear. At this moment, Lord Luo Hao, he must be doing something in the forest which is extremely shocking. After all, he is not an ordinary man. And listening to Ren's words, at this time the Black Rabbit she also said quickly, No, that's not the case, Master Ren. In fact, the two guys said they had never been to such a place before, so they wanted to stay in the forest for a while longer. While talking about the Black Rabbit at this time, she also pushed Jiayuan Fei Niao and Luo Hao's family members to the front of Master Ren. Then she continued to speak to Master Ren. Now let Master Ren, you take these people to the world of Hakoten to visit, and I will go back to the forest. Get those two guys back. Listening to High Rabbit's words, young Master Yiren also showed a more puzzled expression at this time. Originally, he was already doubtful, and after listening to High's words that were not ambiguous, he felt even more doubtful. What the hell is going on here? I saw his young Master Ren at this time. He tilted his head and said. Looking at such a young Master Ren, the family members of Jiayuan Fei Niao and Luo Hao at this time also smiled and said to this young Master Ren in front of them, "Then please show us a little tour of the world of Hakoniwa, please." Listening to Jiayuan Fei Niao's request, young Master Ren at this time also nodded his head quickly. That's okay, there's no problem, come over here with me, I'll take you in and see the world of Hakoniwa. By the way, I will explain to you some general things and common sense about this world. For these problem children who were summoned, Master Jin at this time was also quite polite. It's just that as Luo Hao's family, Ria's at this time, he looked at the young Master Ren in front of him but felt a little doubt. Because before, although they did not see the Black Rabbit often showing any powerful power or special ability. But even so, they can still feel the terrifying power and aura hidden by the Black Rabbit very clearly. It's just that she didn't fully reveal it. But for this young Master Ren's words, they couldn't feel any strength and breath from this boy. Obviously, it's just an ordinary little boy, but that's the key to their doubts. Why such an ordinary little boy? He will be the leader of this community. What happened to this community? Why is it so weak? Even Black Rabbit, one of the members of the community, has a very low evaluation of her community. The more mature Rias, she thought about these issues very quickly, but if it is specific, it may be analyzed after Lord Luo Hao returns. On the other side, after entrusting the family members of Jiayuan Fei Niao and Luo Hao to young Master Ren, immediately she turned around abruptly. At this time, the Black Rabbit raised her head and turned her gaze into the distance. Then she said fiercely, "Those two guys hope they haven't made a big deal yet. Now I have to bring them back as soon as possible." As soon as High Rabbit's voice fell, her two usual rabbit ears stood up. In the blink of an eye, her beautiful blue hair has turned into a bright pink. Looking at the Black Rabbit's hair, it changed from blue to bright pink in an instant. At this time, Jiayuan Fei Niao and Luo Hao's family members immediately showed a very shocked expression. But they didn't wait for their shocking words. Immediately, the Black Rabbit at this time, she was already a powerful force in an instant. Then there was a loud bang. She was already soaring high into the air. Continuous force, continuous leap. At this moment, the Black Rabbit, like a real rabbit, disappeared from everyone's sight at an extremely fast speed. What makes people unimaginable is that a girl who looked so weak once had such a terrifying and powerful power hidden in her body. Black Rabbit is such an amazing girl, and looking at the Black Free, who disappeared from his eyes in the blink of an eye. At this time, Rias, she also said with a slightly shocked expression, "Although I already guessed the powerful strength of this guy, but I didn't expect him to be so powerful. However, I don't know why such a powerful man has no way to lead this community." Obviously, more and more doubts emerged in Ria's heart. After all, in the original Demon High School world, Rias was already a girl from the big Demon King family, so she had experienced a lot. When encountering these things, she thinks a lot. Compared to ordinary girls like Kuoh Asuka and Kasuke Byo, she was too mature for the look she showed. And listening to Ria's analysis, young Master Ren at this time, he also said with a slightly embarrassed smile, "Black Rabbit, she is the family of the creator Moon Rabbit in this little garden world. She is an aristocrat in this world, possessing incomparably powerful power and a super powerful divine weapon that will come. But our situation is a little more complicated." Having said this, young Master Ren at this time unconsciously showed a somewhat sad expression. But soon, at this time, he shook his head violently. Then he raised his head strongly and called everyone in front of him to speak. "But now is not the time to talk about those things. Come here, let me show you the world of Hakoniwa and our community base." Listening to Master Ren's words, Jiayuan Asuka at this time, she also immediately showed a somewhat excited expression and said, "They and I can really visit the world. Having been in this world for so long and being in this forest all the time is too boring." And listen to the words of Master Ren and Jiayuan Asuka. At this time, Rias, she also shrugged her shoulders and said helplessly, "Well, in that case, let's wait for Lord Luo Hao to come back and talk about these things." On the other side in the forest, at this moment in front of Luo Hao and Nihui Izui, an incomparably huge blue snake was floating above the waterfall. She hadn't yet reacted to this giant snake god. What exactly was the existence of the two human beings in front of her? I reluctantly thought that you had passed my trial. And just when the giant snake's voice fell, Luo Hao immediately made a voice and said. As for Nihui Izui, who was standing beside Luo Hao, he immediately showed an excited expression. Humph, humans, I appreciate your aura. I accept your challenge. Good Zhao Hao, obviously, at this moment Luo Hao, he gave the other party a very low evaluation. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Then this blue giant snake, he also said to the two men in front of him with his snake letter. Obviously, at this moment. Mouth, you guy has the same tone and arrogance as a guy named Yermingard I met in the last world. You don't know what kind of power he used, his tone was so arrogant. Today's third update asks for a wave of full order support. It's just that you are much weaker than that guy named Yermingard. It's really fun. However, he is also very clear that at this moment the life of this blue giant snake is not his true strength and true posture. As long as you two can withstand this blow from me, it should have some power. Haha. Is this the god in this world? Soon, at this time of the reverse Izui, he clenched his fists and assumed a fighting stance. But the Luo Hao standing beside him, he just folded his hands on his chest, showing a rather calm expression. He was waiting for the blue and white self-proclaimed god giant serpent before the end of Izui. Luo Hao doesn't have much interest in an opponent of this level. But according to the original plot, this giant snake still needs to be defeated. After all, she also occupies a certain position in the later plot, and Black Rabbit's current community also needs resources. This, just treat it as a meet and greet. And looking at Luo Hao, who crossed his hands and exploded, standing on the side of his chest, watching the play. At this time of the retrograde Izui, he also showed a slightly puzzled expression. 377 saw him turn his face slightly and turned his eyes to Luo Hao, who was beside him. Hey, so you're not going to take action against this guy? For Luo Hao's behavior, you thought it was time to feel very puzzled. Why did this guy bring himself, but he didn't do it himself? And Luo Hao, who was listening to the words of Ivy League at this time, continued to speak with a shallow smile. What's wrong? Do you still want two of you to fight with such a level of opponent? The low-level jigsaw method is of no use in reversing Izui. It's just that Luo Hao's words at this level, the opponent really can't let him shoot. Even the reverse of Izui, such an opponent has no value in fighting. It's just because of the development of the subsequent plot community. Let Luo Hao think he must beat this guy first. And for Luo Hao, if you beat this guy, maybe there will be a sign-in reward. Listening to Luo Hao's answer at this time when he returned to Izui, he also slightly withdrew his head. The attitude of the building number made him feel a little unhappy. It was as if he had been humiliated by him. But that doesn't matter. Since he didn't make a move, he would be able to enjoy the battle with this huge giant serpent who claimed to be a god. I saw that at this time, back to Izui, he continued, clapping his hands together fiercely and said loudly, Humph, since you don't take action, that's fine, just come and let me enjoy this battle alone. I don't know what kind of power the gods in this world have. Obviously, it was only at this moment that he was looking forward to this battle. It's just that Luo Hao at this time just showed a somewhat embarrassed expression after listening to the words of Shizui. It seems that he seems to have said what he said just now. This guy seems to have too many expectations. I am afraid that he will feel extremely disappointed in the battle later. After all, that giant snake is not what kind of powerhouse. But even though he said that he was a god after all, it's just a little weaker. It's just that the giant snake at this time, he also easily listened to the words of Luo Hao and Nihui Izui. The words of the two humans made him feel extremely angry. Obviously, this giant snake who claimed to be a god also felt that he was being underestimated. It's too much, it's impossible for you just humans to defeat the gods. Originally, I thought you two were powerful enough and I paid respect to you. Well, let's talk about these things after the battle. Now it seems that I have given you too much respect. He came to Luo Hao's side and looked at the reversed Izui and the giant snake who were about to enter a state of battle, she said in surprise. I saw that at this time, he immediately let out a roar. Hearing the words of this giant snake, he continued to return to Izui at this time, and he was also very calm and even said with contempt. However, just as the battle was about to begin, a rumble fell from the sky with a loud bang. Today's fourth update asks for a wave of full subscription support. I don't know what kind of power you have. As soon as the words fell, the giant snake Izui had already assumed a fighting stance at the same time and a big battle was about to break out. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. Luo Hao's words, he just stood on the other side, waiting for the battle to start. What the hell did you two guys offend? The two-person category is too arrogant. Damn it, it really can't be easy, just let the two of you go. Roar. With the black rabbit's voice just fell. At this time Luo Hao, he still just folded his arms in front of his chest and then stared closely at the reversed Izyoi and the giant snake in front of him. He said very calmly and easily, "You underestimate others, you rabbit. A guy of that level is not an opponent at all. But now that I'm telling you this, you probably won't understand it. The truly terrifying power is not limited to this level." He felt a little unhappy about High Rabbit underestimating himself and the strength of the two of them, Luo Hao, at this time. But if this kind of thing really fights, it is estimated that he will completely change his mind. Luo Hao prefers to use his actions to prove his terror and power rather than what he says. In listening to Luo Hao's words, I feel his aura and terrifying aura. At this time, Black Rabbit was at a loss for words again. At this moment she didn't know what to say, and the battle between Izyoi and the Serpent God is about to begin. Now I am afraid there is no way to quell the anger of the Snake God. There is really no way. At this time the Black Rabbit, she is also a side face, turning her eyes to the battlefield of reverse Izyoi and the Snake God. At this moment all she can do, just pray in my heart that reverse Izyoi can support as many moves as possible. In Black Rabbit's understanding, it is impossible for the human beings on the earth to fight against these gods and Buddhas. Even in the battle just now, she had already seen the terrifying strength of Luo Hao, Hui and Izyoi. She still hasn't changed her mind. It's just that what she didn't know was a wonderful picture that was about to come into her eyes. Go back to the battlefield with Izyoi and the Snake God. I saw the Snake God at this time. He immediately danced his huge body, stirring the whirlpool and sea water. Humans of damn it, come and see your own insignificance. A mere human being is trying to challenge the gods. This is your punishment from the gods. As soon as the white snake god's voice fell, he immediately had to use his divine power to roll up the surging river and waves. He launched the most violent attack towards the counter-turn Izyoi in front of him. Such a huge wave, even if it was placed in the earth of the previous life, is a huge wave of unparalleled destructive power. For the inhabitants of any city, it will bring unparalleled destruction. It's just that in the eyes of the retrograde Izyoi, maybe not. Look at the surging waves in front of you. At this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he just said with a rather disdainful expression, "Ah, is this the only level of God in this world?" Obviously, regarding the huge wave that the white snake god raised, at this time Izyoi didn't care at all. Ask for flowers. Even the strength of the opponent is quite despised. Immediately, at this time of the reversal of Izyoi, he had already clenched his fists and was about to throw a fist. It's impossible. How can humans defeat the gods? How can they have the power to penetrate mountains and rivers like this? The monstrous waves of the white snake god just now were resolved so easily by reverse return to Izyoi. Since you are so weak, don't be so arrogant when you spoke just now, you cute little white snake. Is this guy really still human? Immediately black free at this time. Today, the 5th update is over. The countless sea water fell on the sea surface again, but it didn't cause any waves again. While complaining about the power of the white snake god, at this time of the retrograde Izyoi, he suddenly threw a punch towards the waves in front of him. The fist pressure generated by the fist hand turned out to be an extremely powerful destructive force that directly smashed the waves. HMPH, I'm really disappointed. Thank you for reading this story at Fiction Zone. Net, your support enables us to keep the site running. And looking at reverse Izyoi's amazing performance, I saw that at this time he gritted his teeth and said a little viciously, "He is obviously a god, but only to this extent," and back to Izyoi, he also combed his hair soaked in seawater at this time and said, "Boom, boom, boom." She also showed a serious expression that could no longer be shocked and said that the 3 views were completely destroyed. Black Rabbit, she couldn't believe what was happening in front of her, the man named Reverse Izyoi, that ordinary human he turned out to be. It was incredible to dissolve the power of the white snake god so easily. In Black Rabbit's understanding, human beings cannot fight against gods and Buddhas anyway. This is an iron rule that will never be overcome. But what happened in front of her eyes subverted her previous understanding. This human being, he turned out to be just relying on the simplest fist. The one who was blasted away was the terrifying giant wave, 377, emitted by the snake god. What kind of powerful, terrifying power does this have to be able to do such a thing? And listening to the words of Black Rabbit, that was beyond shocking. At this time Luo Hao, he also continued to cross his arms in front of his chest and said with a relaxed and indifferent look, "I told you just now, don't underestimate people. That kind of strength is nothing at all. This is just the beginning of the battle. And by the way, let me remind you that the man called Reverse Isyoi is not just a simple human being, and of course I am not." Obviously, at this moment Luo Hao, he denied the fact that he is a human being. But it is indeed as he said, how can normal human beings be so powerful? And listening to Luo Hao's words, he was also exempted from the black at this time. She also continued to focus her gaze on the white snake god Reverse Hui Isyoyu. She whispered in her mouth, "Is it not human anymore? Indeed, normal human beings simply cannot do such a thing. How can a normal human have the power to fight against the gods?" Obviously, High Rabbit accepted Luo Hao's words very smoothly and easily. Looking back at Isyoi and Luo Hao, they are no longer ordinary human beings. They are terrifying existences that are comparable to gods in human bodies. It is an existence that absolutely cannot be understood from a human perspective. And back to the perspective of Isyoi and Shireishi. Watching the giant wolf attack that he set off was reversed back to the way Isyoi easily resolved. Even if he was the white snake god at this time, he said with an extremely shocked expression, "No. Impossible, just a human being, how could it be possible to do such a thing? You be asterisk 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 D, what the hell are you doing? You are not human at all, it is impossible for a human to have such power." Like Black Rabbit after seeing the incredible power of Reverse Isyoi, he also couldn't believe this. This human, he was able to crack his attack so easily. This was absolutely impossible or possible before, he had never encountered such a thing. But listening to the words of the white snake god in front of him, at this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he just waved his right hand violently and said. And the arrogant words that naively thought that the lovelorn at this time the anger in the white snake god's heart was also burning more vigorously. But is this the only level you are? Thank you for reading this story at FictionZone.net. Your support enables us to keep the site running. And listening to the words of the white snake god at this time of the retrograde Isyoi, he immediately showed a confident smile and said, "Even some of them can't believe the facts in front of them, and they can't understand why a human being can possess such terrifying power in the retrospective Isyoi. Even gods are good-faced. At this time, the white snake god, she will not admit her own weakness. If it was all your strength just now, I would be a little disappointed. It was obvious that the power exerted by Reverse Isyoi just now was not even a fraction of that full strength. Ah, what are you talking about? If it's just that, I'm a little disappointed." But even so, the Black Rabbit and the white snake god who were present were extremely shocked. "It was the same with me just now, I didn't even take out 1/10 of my power. Humans of damn it, don't be too arrogant, I didn't even use half of my strength in the attack just now. Today's first update, seek full order support, because that level of power is not 0. Obviously, at this time, he was not to be outdone when he returned to Isyoi. He will not even admit that his attack was almost full force just now, but it was easily resolved by the 2-6 return Isyoi in front of him. If that's the case, that's really great. And listening to Reverse Isyoi's words, the Black Rabbit at this time, she also showed an even more incredible expression. She immediately hugged her head with both hands and said in shock, "This guy, this human, what the hell is going on with him? Did he really not use all his power? Even in the face of such a terrifying blow from the white snake god, he had already resolved it so easily. But in this way, is it the same as not using all of your own power? If it is said that the full strength attack of Isyoi just now reversed, the really terrifying wave attack of the white snake was resolved." At this time, the Black Rabbit, she can still barely understand. It's just that in her understanding, one, maybe 10 months at a time can no longer be considered a human being. But now you are actually telling Black Rabbit which one to go back to Isyoi. He didn't even use half of his power just now, which is even more incredible. And listen to the shocked words of the Black Rabbit beside him. At this time of Luo Hao, he is also very relaxed and indifferent. He even said in a slightly disdainful tone, "Well, isn't this kind of thing natural? If you deal with an opponent of this level, you will have to use all your strength. Then how can we lead this community to become stronger?" Obviously, Luo Hao at this moment, he thinks that just this level is nothing at all. It's just that for the Black Free, these are outrageous powers and things that can no longer be outrageous. A mere human being from the earth, he turned out to be a human body to easily defuse the attack of the gods. And this is not even his full power. Even at this time, he made a mockery of the weak gods. What happened to this world and what kind of strange creatures did you summon? And looking at High Rabbit's shocked expression, Luo Hao at this time, he just continued to speak. HMPH, what are you surprised and afraid of, for you, that precarious community? Shouldn't it be a good thing to have two powerful characters like ours? Luo Hao, he thinks that he wants to make this community stronger. Such a powerful force is indispensable, and Black Rabbit and the others naturally think so. It's just that I go back to Izioi, that terrifying power. For a while, Black Rabbit forgot his original thoughts. The original Black Rabbit, she just hoped to summon a powerful helper to help her community become stronger. Listening to Luo Hao's reminder to call the Black Rabbit at this time, she finally reacted, nodded, and said, "It's exactly as you said, without your help, the community may not be able to develop so quickly. Now you are an absolutely indispensable force to the community." Obviously, he was the Black Rabbit at this time, and she finally reacted. Luo Hao and another reversed back to Izioi. Such terrifying and powerful beings are the power she really needs at this moment. Not listening to High Rabbit's words, Luo Hao at this time also nodded and said, "Well, you really are a stupid rabbit. No wonder your community has developed into such a desolate posture. But as long as there is me and this retrograde Izioi guy, I will use my absolute might. In the shortest time, bring this community back to the peak and conquer the world." Immediately at this time, Luo Hao, he was extremely calm and made a bold statement. But just like what he said, with 377 borrowing him and reverse Izioi, the strength of the two is strong. It will soon be able to make this community grow rapidly in this small garden world where powerhouses gather. Although Luo Hao, he dare not say how he can conquer the world. After all, the powerhouses of Hakoba even have the power to surpass the multiverse. But what he can guarantee is that under his leadership, this community will definitely become incomparably powerful. This is the oath that Luo Hao can make at this moment. Just talking about Luo Hao at this time, he also continued, and once again set his eyes on Lihui Izioi and the white snake god on the battlefield. Then he continued and said confidently, "But this battle should be over. A small snake can't make any trouble on the battlefield." He was also very clear about the reversal of Izioi, and he heard Luo Hao's words behind him. At this time recently, he also gritted his teeth and showed a very calm smile. "HMPH, I still want to have a good fight with this guy. But since what you said, let me end this battle with a little seriousness." Obviously, in the fight just now, he knew clearly that he could end the battle at any time. Because his opponent has no great power at all. In the fight just now, he was already very clearly aware of this problem. It's just that even so, he's far more interesting than the opponent on Earth where you and everyone else would have been. So if it wasn't for Luo Hao's words just now going back to Izioi, he really wanted to fight this little white snake in front of him for a while. And listening to the words of the reversal of Shizui Lejing, the white snake god at this time. He also continued to be unbearable, and at this moment he immediately let out a roar. The humans of damn it are arrogant, but it barely blocked my blow. Do you really think you're powerful? In my eyes, you are just a weak, no more weak existence. Accompanied by the voice of the white snake god, she immediately opened her bloody mouth and launched the most violent attack towards the counter-returning Izioi in front of her. Compared with the huge wave attack just now, it is even worse. Here is the power possessed by the gods. It's just that he listened to the other party's words and he just shook his head and said at this time, "Dream talk, it's time to end here. You really should wake up, you be *****D. As soon as the words of the reverse back to Izioi fell, his feet slammed into force. With a loud bang, he was already flying into the air. However, the ground he was standing on was unable to withstand the enormous power he had just burst out in an instant. In an instant, the ground also collapsed into a huge gap because of his powerful strength. And back to Izioi himself, he had already leaped high into the air. Afterwards, he turned around and kicked with great ease. It was already kicking the huge force, focusing on the head of the White Snake City, making a huge noise. The White Snake God who was kicked, he also immediately screamed in pain. Then he fell back heavily and fell on the Wang Yang behind him. A huge wave was set off. It was as if it was really raining. As for Nihui Izioi, who was soaked by the rain, he also raised his soaked bangs and said, "Damn it, this dress is soaking wet again. It makes me feel really bad." While talking about the reversal of Izioi at this time, he also continued to shift his attention to Luo Hao. Therefore, he was a little dissatisfied and said, "Hey, you told me about this snake god before, but he has great power. To make me happy for nothing, it's only to that extent. I couldn't even take a single blow from me." Hearing Luo Hao's complaints about Shiz at this time, he also shrugged his shoulders and said, "I never said that the guy was strong. What I said at the time was just to challenge you to an interesting guy. It's you who thinks that Snake God will have powerful power. Listen to the dialogue between Luo Hao and Reverse Izyoi, two men as powerful as devils. At this time of the Black Rabbit, she was showing a look of shock and couldn't be more shocked. The corners of her mouth even twitched unconsciously at this time. In her eyes, these two guys are no longer in the category of human beings. Good money 10. Even if they are not human, the power they possess is still very exaggerated and outrageous. Even that mighty god could be defeated with such an easy blow, simply incredible. But, although Black Rabbit was extremely shocked, he thought about it carefully. As long as you have the power of these two men, BA, the community of no name must be able to grow again. I saw the Black Rabbit at this time. She was jumping a little while running back from the Wang Yangzheng, ran to the shore and ran to Luo Hao's side. In her hand is something like a sapling. I looked at the small sapling in my hand, and at this time Black Rabbit immediately showed a very happy smile and said, "Great. As long as we have this thing, we won't have to buy water from other communities in the future." Well, it seems that it was not a wrong decision for you to challenge that god this time. I saw the Black Rabbit at this time. She said it very after the fact. While speaking, she also showed a very bright smile. However, listening to High Rabbit's words, and at this time of Izyoi, he also immediately showed a smile that seemed to threaten him. HMPH, you guy, I remember you looked down on me and Luo Hao quite a while ago, right? While talking about the retrograde Izyoi at this time, his eyes widened, exuding a terrifying aura, looking at the Black Rabbit. Although he said that he did not return to Izyoi, he was so angry because of such a thing. Now he was just smiling at the rabbit in front of him. It's just that after hearing the threatening words of Izyoi, the Black Rabbit at this time, she also immediately showed a very scared expression. Don't me, it was just because I thought you were human, so I felt that your strength might not be enough. On the other hand, at this time, the Black Rabbit, she also turned around and said with a rather serious expression, "But now I know very well that your strength is far beyond what I need and what I want. With your help, I will definitely be able to quickly return the community to its former peak state." While talking about the Black Rabbit at this time, she also stretched out her slender right hand towards the two people in front of her. "Everyone, I'm willing to ask you to lend me your strength. Can you?" Listening to High Rabbit's words, looking at her incomparably serious expression, Luo Hao and Nihui Izyoi also looked at each other at this time. Then Luo Hao at this time, he stretched out his right hand and said to the Black Rabbit in front of him, "HMPH, I don't need you to say this kind of thing, I know it too. Just don't forget that I won the ranking game before our pact. Then I will be the leader of your community." Obviously, Luo Hao at this moment is extremely persistent in his leadership. After all he wanted was to be a king, be the king of this world. If I want to be the king of this world and become the leader of the community, maybe this is a must. He led a weak community to become stronger and more interesting than anything. But listening to Luo Hao's words, the Black Rabbit at this time did not show a rather abject expression of resistance as she did before. On the contrary, he was looking forward to it at this time and said to Luo Hao in front of him quite satisfied, "In that case, it's up to you. Please be sure to bring us back to the top." At this moment, the Black Rabbit is also full of incomparable confidence in Luo Hao. He believed that the man in front of him would definitely be able to bring this community back to its peak. On the other side, in the world of Hakoniwa, the original Master Ren, he was in an open-air restaurant and had a conversation with Ju Yuan Fei Nio and Luo Hao's family members. It's just that something they didn't expect happened at this moment. A man with an incomparably huge body like an orc suddenly appeared in front of everyone, and he also made rude words, mocking the black community that avoided them. Regarding this matter, Kaiyuan Asuka and others at this time also frowned immediately. Although there was only Master Ren here, he didn't say much, but in his heart he was already extremely angry. But there is nothing to be done, the common ground is really not understood. This orc man said the same, there is no competitiveness and there is no power. But something that everyone didn't expect once again happened again. This man actually mocked Luo Hao in front of Luo Hao's family. Suddenly, at this time she stood up abruptly and said, "You guy, what qualifications do you have to mock the two who haven't appeared yet?" Although Luo Hao said very hotly that we should try our best not to shoot before he comes back, but this time I can't help it. As soon as Ria's voice fell, it immediately radiated from her body, an incomparably terrifying huge magic power.
Hello, everyone! As we wrap up this video, I want to share a quick note. I have a Patreon account. If you'd like to support me and enjoy on-demand audiobooks, you can become a Patreon member. Alternatively, you can check out my Google Drive link, which has 500 plus novel audiobooks available through my Ko-fi or Patreon shop. I appreciate your support.